There we go. We're live. Not 5 a.m. If anybody seen it, I posted it at 5 a.m. this morning. I didn't catch it. I'm not. I never said I was the smartest guy in the brightest crown in the box. So we got a guest tonight. We can bring him on anytime. I just got to let him know. But we got Sonny Tapia. He's with. He does like a Sportsman's for Heroes. It's a vet hunt. He takes a lot of vets out hunting, is what he does. He's a guide. He does New Mexico and Arizona. But we're here Monday Night Live. We got George with Mountain Music and Mules. We got Nicholas with Hound on the Run.
How's it going, everybody?
I'm sure old Johnny will pop in when he gets off work. And then we're going to have Sonny Tapia with Dream Mountain Outfitters, I think is his guide business, but he does the Sportsman's for Heroes. So what do we got? We got any news to start it off with, George?
I'm just curious. How was Brett doing?
Oh, he's good. He had to, I think he actually had to work is why he can't really make it. He says he's going to try to pop in, but he has, he sold his business. So he has some obligations from some stuff he did prior.
Oh, gotcha.
So, yeah, and I think
he was retired.
Yeah, he still has to clean up some of his stuff that he got paid for. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So
yeah,
and he gets him out of the house and gets his blood a pumping. So
that's good.
How about you, George? What do you got new this week for us?
Hunting wise, I don't know. I've treed. I don't even know what day is this. Is this
Monday?
Monday Live.
Yeah. Yeah. So, George has been out.
Yeah, it was a long. We struck a track this morning. Dogs took it around, took it across the other side of a big mountain where there's, limited road access, and I don't know. I had probably a 30-minute drive to get around where I could even pick them up again. I picked them up, and they'd done crossed the main road twice, switched counties, and then finally got it treed. Yeah, so
nice.
It was a
good run.
It was a good run. Yeah. Dogs are good. They'll be go hunting in the morning, but they're going to be tired.
Yeah, mine are wore out. I got a few dogs that hadn't even come out of their dog box. They come out, they eat, and they go back in.
Yeah.
What about you, Nicholas? You've been out.
Yep. Yeah, kind of switching gears over here. So if anyone's been, following my channel, I've been doing a lot of podcasting over the summer. And
let me talk to Sonny while you're talking real quick, Nicholas.
Yes, sir. So now now that hunting season's here and we finally got some, nice little bit of cold weather moving in, I can actually get out hunting. I'm going to be switching gears, kind of moving a little bit away from the podcasting and focusing more on just straight up hunting videos again. So, there's only so much time in the day. Gotta prioritize my content creation, as it were. And so I've been went out for a little raccoon hunting on Saturday night. Took these two boys out. These are two of my 1.5-year-old male dogs. Let's see, Bruno and Clover. And I would have I have their sister as well. I would have took her out, but she's in heat, so that's not a good combination. I took them out. My main focus is bobcats, but I have way more access to like high numbers of raccoons. So these dogs are young enough that I'm just still in the process of trying to get them on lots of game, and just trying to get them on a lot of trees and stuff. So went out for the first time this year with them on Saturday night. They struck a raccoon, and they were, they winded it, but this area I hunt, it's kind of close to to a bunch of houses, so if I would have let them run that, they would have been treed in somebody's backyard, and I just didn't want to deal with that. So it kind of sucked because I had to just keep dragging them further in. But yeah, it was fun. Made a video about it. It's up on my channel now. Went up yesterday. So yeah, that's the biggest news for me. I'm still working on getting my audiobook version of Cat Dog Chronicles, which is my book I wrote and published last year. So it's been out for a full year now, and I've been working on getting the audio version published, and it's just extremely tedious. I had everything, I had it all formatted and everything, and then I go to upload it to Audible, and I had the sample rate wrong. So now I have to go back through all of the files. There's like 15 like hour long, well, not an hour. Some of them are an hour, between 20 minutes and an hour. These big, huge audio files. I got to go and change all the sample rates over. And it's just a very tedious process. So working on it, but yeah, that was kind of a roadblock that I was bummed about. And I'm still working on building my new dog box.
How's that coming along?
It's going great. I would have had it done this last weekend, but then it started raining. And I don't have a big property or anything, so I've been working on it literally in my driveway. And I would do it in my garage, but I don't really want to burn my house down, welding and grinding and stuff. So yeah, it's just one thing after another. Making progress on all fronts, but slow and steady.
We'll be expecting that video soon. That video will be coming soon, right?
Yeah. I've been taking lots of video of the design process and the build process and all that. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm really proud of how this box is turning out. I basically taught myself how to weld through this process, and welding is super fun. It's really, really fun. I've done a fair amount of like working with wood and stuff. And welding seems to be a little more forgiving. You know what I mean? Like you mess up, you just grind over it and start over. You can cut it back up, glue it back, weld it back together. So yeah, I've been having a ton of fun with that.
Do your best, grind the rest.
Yes, lots of grinding. My neighbors will be happy when I'm done with it.
Did you figure out
hours of grinding? I haven't painted it yet, but I'm gonna go with the bed liner. Yeah, let me shout George out. So I asked George to send me some pictures of his dog box, and so you sent me what? They were pictures of your dog box and then somebody else's.
My cousin's, yes, which
Your
built
cousin?
simple.
Yeah, man, I love the design, and yeah, good inspiration. Mine is turning out quite a bit different than those ones, but a lot of the same principles, I'd say. But yeah, I'm going with the bed liner paint on the steel.
It don't last on wood. I know that. It will kind of fade off of wood. I've never used it on steel. I was telling Nicholas, I wish they sold 5 gallons of tool dip. I'd rubberize that sucker.
Just the rubberized.
It'd be so nice.
Don't you think that would just turn it into like a giant chew toy for the dogs?
Maybe.
I feel like my dogs would just chew that stuff right off.
Yeah, they might.
Blackbeard asked if I'm using the mattress frame material. No, I'm not. I was gonna take Chris's tip of just finding a bunch of old bed frames. The scrapyard around here, they didn't have any. I was like, okay, whatever. So I ended up buying new steel tubing. It was like 30. The stuff I got is it's like 5/8 by 1.5 inches. So it's kind of a rectangular shape. And I figured that would give it a little more strength for the, horizontal for the platform. So I don't know any difference. So yeah, I went with that, and it seems to be working good. I was worried about it getting too heavy. Overall, I bought 163 pounds of steel. And so I was like, that's on the heavy side, I think, but I don't know. It's not too bad. I don't know how much my aluminum box weighs, but
it'd always be too heavy. I tried to use thin gauge metal, and it's just so big, and it's just awkward heavy. So I mean, you're leaving it on the truck anyway, so.
Oh yeah, it's going to be pretty much a more or less permanent installation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sonny's on his
Yeah,
way
I got-
home, so he'll be on in like 20, 30 minutes.
cool.
So we could tell a bunch of dumb stories till then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How's it going, Johnny?
I'm going pretty good. How about y'all?
Good.
You know, for
Chilling.
a funny talking guy.
Funny talking guys. They say that the egg, we was down, so I had a horrible, not horrible. It's just very memorable hunt this weekend. And I've been looking for dogs for 2 days. My son went down yesterday. We hunted Saturday. I had to do some PI stuff yesterday, which is I'd rather go hike and almost die of dehydration than sit in a car again for 8 hours. It's horrible. And then he went down yesterday and found my Snoopy dog, who made it back to the corrals we parked at. And I went back today looking for Jake, and Jake's an old dog. And Jake will just keep going. He'll go to the next lion or bear. So he's really old. So for him to die out there would be like a Viking death out on sea and the waves took you overboard,
Right on.
So I think every
Crazy.
houndsman kind of knows when you got a real old dog, you don't want to put them down, and you hope they don't get to that point where they can't hunt no more and they're just hurting all the time. So now Snoopy had pissed me off so bad in the last 2 weeks. I was hoping he'd stay out there, but he's smart enough. He found his way back. When you have a GPS, I didn't hunt with GPS till 2008 or 10. I think it was 8 or 10. I think I didn't get GPS till 10. Look at there. Brett spared a little time for us today.
Hey, what's going on?
He's out there making the big bucks.
Oh, I'm going to have to take some time off to spend it all.
You're working, aren't you, Brett?
Yeah, but I'm getting old. The pictures are real small on this phone, and I can't see who it is. It's on here.
Just listen for the voices.
I'm gonna cheat here.
Uh-oh.
Put old man glasses on.
Yeah, I'm about due for a pair of those here real soon.
Oh, it happens. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I just squint.
Oh, we got the on here.
Got the
Right?
crew rolling
Whole
deep.
crew. Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Our guest won't be on for like 20 minutes.
Is that George there? Where's he at?
It is.
Hey,
He's top right.
You're
George
not-
is top right.
I almost didn't make it, and I'll probably leave early, but I am here.
George, he's a busy man.
Yeah, busy, all right. What'd you do today, George?
That's
Want to
not.
tell that story again?
I walked a long ways to a bear tree.
Tough
Yeah.
life, ain't it?
Tough life.
I gotta get rid of some of these flies.
But there was a bear in it, right, George?
There was a bear in it.
Oh,
That's
Would he-
all right.
Well,
It'll be a video up in probably a year or so.
got to catch up with the other ones. I have 4 hours of video from Saturday, and it's barely. I started putting it on my my editor, and it's still like putting the files in it, to where I can edit them. I think it's finally done,
No,
but it's been doing it all day, all yet last night. So I was telling these guys about my hunt this weekend. It's horrible, and how I'd rather have that old dog kind of die a Viking's death out there. So
Yeah.
but I cut so many roads today, and I didn't get no tracks. Like, he's still down on the river. He's probably still down hunting the river. So he has water. Not to worry about water. So,
you know, when I lived up there on the mountain off grid, and I ran bears, and there's no roads or anything up there, and I might lose dogs for 2 or 3 days, but they would lay up for 2 days
yeah.
and then walk out. And
Yeah. I think that's what he's gonna do. It's my son's dog, and he's kind of like I don't know if he'll make it out. And I said, man, them dogs will make it out. If they can make it out, they'll make it out, but they will. They'll lay up. I had a friend lose a dog up north for 7 days, and a grader operator finally called him, said, hey, I got your dog here, and he looks pretty tired. He should be. He's been there 7 days. So there's no better GPS than a phone number on that collar. That's the best coordinates you can leave on a dog.
I had a stag hound one time, a coyote dog that I went out. This was when I was on the farm, and I went out probably 20 miles from the house there, and I used to free cast them and run them on coyotes, and I lost him. I still don't know how I lost him, and I came back and went and looked for him every day for 3 or 4 days and never could find him, and finally I just about gave up on him. It was like 2 weeks later, I went out to feed the horses, and I walked out there, and there he was laying in the haystack, found his way home. And I had trailered out to where we hunted, but he found his way back home.
You know, my dad had told me a story about my grandfather. Back in the day, he took a dog out to coal it, and he shot that dog. And that dog beat him home and was on his front porch. I think, and I guess he let him live. He's either a bad shot or that dog had more than one life. Yeah. Old days, they didn't care, but God almighty, you know. So,
Hey Brett, you put up a pretty dang good video recently with that big old Tom.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Rattlesnakes. Thanks for that too, because I was out there in that same country kind of, and I watched that. I get PTSD. You ran over that rattlesnake on your mule, and I heard it. Man.
Well, the first one I got to stop and take care of. The second one, I was trying to get caught up to the dogs. They, you know, when you start one of these lion tracks out here in the desert, it's always slow, and you can sit there, you know, you sit there and watch them, and you might not even be that far behind the lion. It's still a slow track. And I stopped to kill that rattlesnake, and I thought, you know, I'll catch up to him, and I started up to him, and right when I got up to him, Al and this I can't remember, it was one of those female dogs. They went up in some bluffs right up on the right, and I mean, I wish I'd had the camera on. That lion jumped out right in front of me. I mean, right in front of me and my mule, and then it was like a bear race. I mean, things were going on. The dogs were running, I was running. Everything was going. I got my camera and turned it on. I don't know why I did this. And I stuck it in the saddlebags, and I filmed the saddlebags for 20 minutes.
Hey, you know, you're one step closer. You got the camera on this time, though.
Oh, I know. Yeah. In the middle of all that, we jumped a rattlesnake. I mean, jumped over one. I was running like that, and old Agnes jumped over. I don't have time to take care of this thing.
Yeah.
But it was exciting. And then they had had him in that cave hole. And it was, you know, get back in there in that cave hole, and you start trying to peek around that corner to look at that, you know, probably about 120-pound Tom. It's not real comfortable.
Yeah, that's freaking scary.
Yeah. So I thought, well, you know, and I could have got in there and probably shot him in that hole. But you don't have any escape route or any way to get out of his way. And then the dogs, I got to be real careful with the dogs, because those dogs, they get in there, they're okay until I get there. Then when I get there, they get real tough, you know. Then they think they go in there, and they start getting real close to him, and that bothers me. So, but it was fun. It was, you know, it was finally kept. That was the main thing.
Yeah, my dogs went in some mines this weekend, and we had to walk back there and see if there's anything in there. And one of them had a vertical mine that was covered in just a bunch of timbers, like and that dumb dirty dog of mine kept walking across them timbers, making me nervous. But
you know, when I was up there at my camp up in the mountains, there was lots of mines, lots of mine shafts, and those bears are getting those mine shafts too. And yeah, man, that's dangerous. Not at all.
No, it's no fun. Hey, George, is Scruffy alive, George? Because
Scruffy alive.
You see that comment?
That's funny. The rumor mill.
was starting to second guess my decision to use that on the YouTube. You know, the whole deal there. Because boy, I got so many messages I had to reply to.
Oh boy.
I haven't had time to watch the video yet, but I seen it and I seen that and I thought, oh no. I thought Scruffy's dead. So what I did is I didn't have time to watch it, but I clicked on it. I started going through the comments real fast. And then I finally found a comment that said, well, it's a good thing Scruffy made it through that. And I thought, oh, okay, everything's good.
I gotta say, George, your Instagram posts that you make have like no information on them, and they're so intriguing. You know what I mean? It's like, man, like, yeah, now I have to know what happens.
See, I don't know how to use the Instagram platform really. I haven't figured it. So I
think you're doing a good job. Just keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, just post a picture with hardly any information and get people wondering what's going on.
Next time, just take a little ketchup, throw it all over Scruffy, and don't even say nothing.
When I post on Instagram, it goes. When I post on Facebook, it goes straight to Instagram, and like half time, I don't even realize. You know, I don't even think about having an Instagram platform. But somehow mine are connected, and I don't even remember connecting them. But I make a post, and next thing I know, I'm getting feedback from Instagram that people are liking my post. I'm like, but I seen that. I seen old Scruffy. He didn't back down 1 iota inch.
Oh, when it
in his face.
When the tree, he thought that the bear had bailed off to the left, but of course it went to the right, which the camera caught it. Shoot, he spun around that tree and was right on his tail. And he took it on down through there, and of course I had to yell at him to get him back. But
I lost my picture here.
See, to me, when I saw your Instagram post, like he was kind of in that, you know, that notch of that tree. I thought he got stuck in the tree.
Right.
I thought, yeah.
That's what I thought. He got stuck in the tree because he was kind of squirming out of it.
Well, and actually, that is a little bit what happened. Is it not so much he got stuck, but he couldn't move fast enough. He knew what was getting ready to happen, but he couldn't. He didn't have that. You know, his timing was off.
Yeah.
Because he's fast. I typically don't worry about him at all. Just bear on the ground, everything like that. He's
Brett's back.
I'm having trouble here. And I got a big old train going by right behind me.
Cutting off the signal.
I introduced my dad to Brett and George last night on YouTube. He has no idea how to use the YouTube platform, but he knows he's got it on his TV now, and he's asking me tonight. He said, "Can I see the same thing that I saw on there last night? Like the same kind of stuff?" I said, "Everything's on there."
You want.
I said, "Everything is on there that you want to watch." So he got to watch George and Brett last night, and my granddaughter got to watch Brett, and she got to hear them hounds open up on that cold track. Whoa. And I sent Brett a video, and she's pointing, "Pawpaw, pawpaw, 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 pawpaw."
Well,
tickled her to death.
That's why I wanted her name and how to say it. So I want her to watch a video, and I want to call her name, see what she says.
It's Kalani.
Kalani.
That's a beautiful name.
It's Hawaiian and Polynesian. Means sea and sky. I guess being, a country boy, I was like, Kalani. I wasn't too sure about it when they first picked it out, but yeah, it fits her. And she's the sweetest baby you ever been around in your life. She's nothing like her dad. She's a little bit like her daddy. She's messy like her daddy, but she's sweet. She don't get mad that much or anything. So it could be just that I'm a grandparent now instead of a parent too. I don't know.
That does make a difference, let me tell you.
But she got introduced to the Brett, and then after they left that mom and dad's last night, I introduced Dad to the George too. So
that's cool.
Dad's never bear hunted, so he's seen that bear up in the tree, George, and he's like, "What did he tell me? 200 pounds? That bear weighs 200 pounds." Dad, that bear probably weighs 100 pounds. No, that bear weighs 200 pounds. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. That bear weighs about 100 pounds, maybe 120 pounds. And he's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I said, they'll fool you, especially when you're not.
To a deer hunter, that was a 300-pound bear. Just ask him.
Oh, he told me one day that there was one across the road on him. After he retired from the Department of Corrections in Virginia. After he retired from that, he run a paper route for like 20 years. And maybe 22 years or something, he run that paper route. And he told me one night, we were actually bear hunting. And he told me that evening when I got home, there was a bear across the road over here in front of me yesterday morning, weighed 400 pounds. I'm like, no, it probably weighed about 200 pounds. He said, it was as high as my car hood and it looked like a yearling steer. I said, yeah, it weighed about 200 pounds. And Dad's like, no, it didn't. I'm like, yeah, it weighed about 200 pounds. If you say 400, it weighed 200.
You know, Brett said 125-pound Tom, and I don't think anybody's carried a 125-pound Tom on their shoulders, because I've seen it. I got a picture from a kid, said, check out this 175. So that ain't 175, it's 157 3/4. He goes, no, man, I know the guy who shot it. It's 175. Well, I'm like buddies with the guy who shot it. Like, I was the first guy he sent a picture to. He goes, we weighed it. It's 157 1/4. You know, but that's how the rumor mill goes. You know, I don't know if you guys seen a big lion, but 150 is a big lion.
Huge lion.
Huge. So if you get a 140, 150, a 125 is a big lion. It's not super big, but it's a big lion. When you hit a 150 cat, that thing looks like it's 200 pounds.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. If you look at the picture on that video of that lion, that we caught him not 50 yards from that cave where this other lion was in. And that was genuinely a 160-pound Tom. He was a big desert Tom.
That is big for the desert too.
Oh yeah, they don't get that big out here.
I know with bear, I'm not the greatest at judging them, but you know a bear, you know when a bear's big. I mean, there ain't no second guessing or anything like that. Like you know, if you see him across the road and you be like, I think that was a big bear, he's probably 100 pounds or something. But when you see the big old rascal come out, you know.
The first bear I ever seen in a trio, I was like, oh my gosh, that thing's huge. And we got to the tree, and he come down out of the tree, and the brush was so thick around the tree, the laurel bushes were, that I couldn't get right up against it. And the guy was trying to catch the dogs, and I was watching the bear, and I heard my buddy yell, he's coming out, somebody shoot him. And he went back up, and when he went back up, I was like, and I got another look at him. I was like, where did the bear go that was in the tree?
Yeah.
Because now there's a little one there. A little bear.
They call it ground shrinkage.
Well, then this other guy was there. He was in from Illinois with one of his friends. He had a 500 Smith.
Illinois. I have to correct you, because if my wife hears you say Illinois, I'll get in trouble.
Why's it got an S on it for then?
I don't know. That's what I say. I call it Illinois. I call it Illinois. So now I'm in trouble now. I can hear her in the house. I'm in trouble.
Is that where she's from?
Oh, yep. Hey,
I got like mobsters and stuff up there. You're gonna get your bones broken.
I turned her from a
Yankee.
One of them people over there to a conservative. She hunts and fishes now. So, or hunts and helps me with dogs.
Well,
she's the most perfect thing I ever had in my life, guys. Most perfect thing.
That's good.
I believe it.
That guy from Illinois.
Oh, thank
had
God.
a 500 Smith, and like I said, I couldn't see them because the brush was so thick. And I'm watching that bear, and he comes off the limb. He was on a limb, looked like your arm. I mean, he's just sitting. He come off the tree and up like that. He was just sitting on that flat spot there. He come out around the side of the tree, woof, woof, woof. And I'm watching him, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to shoot him and drop him on their head. And he was a small bear. He was legal, but he was a small bear. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to shoot him and drop him on those guys' heads. Next thing I know, wow! And my heart likes to come out of my chest, and I jump, and I said, who shot? And they said, we're sorry he shot. And I said, well, I don't care about him killing the bear. I said, I scared me to death. But the bear hit the ground, and I was like, where did the small bear go that was in the tree? Because that's a little bitty bear that's on the ground now. And
Oh yeah.
that ground shrinkage on that bear was bad with me. I mean, that was like,
you know, if I showed you first video of the first bear I shot, first tree, everything, I don't even like watching it. We didn't tie dogs back. We didn't do nothing. We shot that bear, and it came out of the tree, and we're yelling at dogs, watch it, watch it. It was horrible. It was horrible. I was rookie. Man, I was a rookie.
You see the video of the first bear I killed, it was small. It
Yeah.
come down out of the tree wrapped up with another dog. A guy shoots it, and guys got the dog by the collar, and the bear's wrapped up with the dog.
Oh.
One of my buddies, and he's got the dog lead in his hand, beating the bear with the chain, part of the dog lead. And
Yeah.
he throws the lead and draws his pistol and shoots the bear in the ribs. And the bear lets go of the dog and comes running by me. And I had tripped and failed trying to get to him, got my feet tangled up in the stick. And I just stand up, and here comes this bear by me, and I just throw up with that 44 mag. I just throw up, boom. And I'm serious. My barrel wasn't an inch, 2 inches from that bear's head when it went off. And
Hey, I got a game warden story. My buddy, they're at a tree, and this bear's in a tree, and I don't know if they shot or it came out. Bear comes out and runs up a trail, and the one guy goes to shoot it with his pistol, and the game warden stands up and says, watch it, I'm right here. Almost shot that game warden. Sneaky sucker. Yeah.
you don't have to worry about that in Virginia. They don't leave the road.
Oh boy.
Much.
I'm not gonna
least-
say his name, but if you wanted to be a warden and it was your job, he was the guy that did his job, and he did it right. He was friends with everybody, and everybody who's from this area knows what I'm talking about. He was friends with everybody, you know, and I started a couple rumors that he was baiting a mountain. And then like a year later, he says, I heard rumors I was baiting a mountain. I said, yeah, I started that. But what's funny about that, he's not in the field no more. And this mountain ain't got no bears no more. Peekaboo. That your dad? Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Oh, he's back.
The
Is he
legend.
the one? Is he the one that commented he wanted to go on to my country?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I
you
didn't get
don't.
to see. I want to come back.
Oh, I won't take you over there. It's horrible. It is horrible. Cliffs. And,
That was some beautiful country out there.
you know what's funny is we get people from back east that come over and hunt. Like I did a hunt of a lifetime for cancer kids. They had more fun rolling boulders off of these big cliffs because they don't have no boulders back east. You know, it's all flat land or not big canyons. And I'm talking so big of boulders and cliffs that it was a 400-pound guy and me pushing these boulders off, watching them roll. And these kids were just fascinated. That's what they wanted to do the whole time. Can we stop and roll some boulders? Can we stop and roll some boulders? You know, anybody that's been in country like ours, Brett knows that's what you do. If there's, you'll be sitting there eating lunch and see a boulder. I did it when I was doing that live. I kicked a boulder off there before I did that live, and my son was down there, and he's all, "Did you shoot?" I said, "No, I was a boulder." He's all, "Yeah, I'm down here." I'm like, "Yeah, I see where you are." And I rolled a big round one, and it started coming down. He goes, "Man, I just hear you getting closer and closer." I was actually getting kind of scared. I stood up, make sure it wasn't going to roll
Safety
on me.
third.
Exactly.
Safety third is my motto.
Exactly.
We were up. Hey, we were up in the Gila one time, and me and my brother-in-law and my nephew, and we were rolling boulders off the end of the Middle Fork, rolling them off and eating our lunch and talking. And we walked 50 yards down the ridge, and my nephew shot a big 8-point mule deer buck right there. After we were throwing all those boulders off and rolling them down,
Yeah.
he was just sitting there on the end of a little old point, or bedded down is what he was. But he never let boulders bother him.
Southern Arizona, when you're hunting in the middle of the day, you walk on those canyons, you roll boulders down to get them bucks and deer to jump up.
Yeah, so you can see them, yeah.
I should start a guide business just for rolling boulders. I can make
That's
it.
a great
I'm
idea.
telling you. I'm telling you. Those
If I
people-
really was close to you, I'd have hollered at you, Chris, while I was out there. I had
I
a little
know.
bit of.
He's about an hour from me. I could have been over there in about 45 minutes.
We stayed the night right there somewhere in one of the motels. Well, we had to drive a little further. There was a rodeo or something going on. We had to drive a little further, but we stayed right in that area there.
Yep. Heck, you could have just drove an extra hour and stayed at my house.
Yeah.
Mr. George, what were you doing out there? You just on a road trip?
Yeah, we was out there doing some ministry work, and we had several folks that asked us to come by. So we ended up pretty much coming all the way down across California from Arcata, well, across Oregon, down through Arcata, and then all the way down through, and then come back out over by the Grand Canyon and back I-40, come back home.
Sounds like a nice trip.
So
Yeah. Well,
We
I
got
hope
to
you
see-
get George back to work now that you're back.
well, he's been taking me hunting since I come back, so that's pretty good.
You're an enabler. You're an
Yeah.
enabler.
Well, he needs a dog handler. That's what I told him. So, I retired. He's got to have somebody to help handle the dogs. So.
Yeah. Shoot, just to have somebody drive the truck to the next road is a big hand. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
But you don't want to stay with Chris. You'll get shot with a BB gun or have a pine cone thrown in your face or
Yeah,
something.
you probably will. My kids are ruthless. I do that to protect myself from my kids. Don't let them little bratty, cute, big brown-eyed girls fool you.
yeah.
We was at Circle K today getting fuel. She says, "Can we go in?" I said, "No, man, I brought snacks." And this girl literally touches my face and says, "Please." I'm all, "You son of a. Hurry up, let's go. Let's go and get you whatever you want."
Hey, Johnny, I think I've actually met you. I was down in, it would have been last year at Bass Pro or Cabela's, whichever it is, there in Bristol. We was getting some fishing stuff. And I'm pretty sure that was you the more I think about it, with maybe some youngsters there. And y'all was going, I think, up to Blue Springs, going fishing, was buying.
That wouldn't have been me. No, I don't think.
You was telling us some, or well, I say you, but whoever it was telling us some tackle that worked good right there in some of them local streams.
Now, I don't think it was me. I do a little bit of fishing, but I've never been up to the Blue Springs and fished.
Okay.
I know about the Blue Springs and
Yeah.
the guys that go up there fishing a lot, but I've never been up there and fished. I like to fish. I'm just not real good at it. My granddaddy was awesome fisherman, but there's some guys around here that apparently look a lot like me, and it's a little bit scary because
Amazing.
well, I worked down here in a little town that they call Glade Springs, which is just right, not too far out of Bristol. And
More scary, this guy told us he was a Baptist pastor. So
maybe somebody was somewhere he shouldn't have been, and he can't admit it right now. Maybe we should just quit talking about this.
You're blowing his alibi right now.
Right here knows I go to Bass Pro and knows I don't care how much I go to Bass Pro.
She just don't give you the card.
She's usually with me when I'm in Bristol at Bass Pro. I mean, she usually is. But there was a guy one night that walked into one of her friends was working at a convenience station, and she told Tammy, she said, "I can't get," and she just calls me John. She said, "I can't get John to talk to me." And Tammy said, "I don't think he ever goes in that gas station." And she said, "Oh yeah, he's in here every night," but said he will not speak to me. And Tammy said, "I don't think it's him." Well, like 2 days later, she called Tammy and said, "Yeah, that's not him." She said he come in here and one night and went back to the cooler and got him a can of pop out and come back out and was paying for it. And she said, "John, why don't you talk to me?" And said he looked up at her and said, "How do you know my name?" And said as soon as he opened his mouth, she said, "I knew it wasn't him, but it was some guy that looked just like him." And his name was
John? Oh,
yeah,
boy.
his name was John. So said he looked at her and said, "How do you know my name?" And so,
Hey, Brett, I told everybody you were working, but do you have dogs with you?
Well,
Uh-oh.
What? Well,
The truth comes
Well,
out. We
well,
figured you out.
you pulling a George.
when you got dogs as I got, you don't go anywhere without some. I sold a couple dogs up here, so I'm delivering them.
Good deal.
So
did you sell Uno?
no, I wanted to because I really think he could help somebody out. Not because he's double cold nosed. I mean, he really, really will start a cold track. Might be a coyote, but he'll start a cold track.
Game is game. Trailing is trailing.
Oh, he'll trail. But I you know how it is. I just decided, no, I'm terrible about this. I get attached to my dogs.
Yeah. I'm kind of the
I
same
don't know
way.
what
That's
you mean at all.
I've told Tammy,
yeah.
I've told Tammy, I said, I want to buy Uno, but I know better.
I get it.
Hey, John.
Huh.
I got 7 Walker looking pups right here. Half blue tick, a little bit of red tick, some Walker.
Oh,
Ready. They'll be ready to go when you get. I might have to come visit you and accidentally leave one with you.
Booticks.
They're half blue tick.
Bootick.
Well, if you want to run slow, I guess if you want to run a little slower, you can.
You don't want to catch anything.
Yeah.
Hey now. Hey.
No,
Hey.
that's what my buddy here calls them. Because honestly, we were talking about it. I was talking to a guy the other night about it, and he's got his blue tick hound just died. Was 14 years old, and he coon hunted him. He started out trying to bear hunt him a little bit, and then he ended up coon hunting him. And he was talking about him, and I said, "Why don't we have?" I said, I've been talking to these guys out west. Been talking to, Chris and Brett and Nick, and they've got blue ticks out there, and blue tick crossbreeds and stuff. Why don't we have? And I was talking about Calvin Redhouse having those blue ticks he uses. So why don't we have a good blue tick dog around here? And he said, I don't know. And he bought that dog out of North Carolina. That was the best blue dog he'd ever had, and said probably the best coon dog that he would ever own in his life. And my buddy called, and one of my other buddies, he calls every one of them booticks. You get one out of the box, and he goes, "That's a bootick."
Here we go. Sonny decided to show up tonight.
What's going on? Some of us got to make a living, but
I keep hearing that from Brett and George and all these guys, and they're all been hunting all day.
I'm independent.
I make a living at it.
That you do.
Well,
Tell us who you are.
my name's Sonny Tapia. I'm founder of Sportsmen for Heroes Foundation. It's a nonprofit where we take wounded vets and mobility impaired kids out, and I'm also a owner of a guide service called Dream Mountain Outfitters. I hunt Arizona and New Mexico. We hunt lions, bears, elk, antelope, mule deer, coos deer, sheep, turkey, you name it, we do it.
And you've been doing it a while. Why don't you just take us from the start when you got started?
So when I was a little kid, when I was 8 years old, I was introduced to hunting from my family didn't hunt much. So one of my best friends, his family hunted, and I started hanging around him and his dad to go hunting, and I'd go with them all the time. And their idea of hunting was cruising around in a truck, shooting stuff out of the archery deer or whatever, shooting it out of pickup. But as I got older, I wanted to know more. And I always said that I was going to be a professional hunting guide when I got older. Well, the day I graduated, I flew to Cody, Wyoming. My buddy had moved there. And I was going to go to a guide school in Bozeman, Montana that summer. I left in January, and I was going to go that summer. Well, anyways, I came back, and I talked to a local outfitter. And I told him what my goal was, and he said, "Hell, that school won't teach you anything you don't already know, except for how to pack an animal." He said, "Just come to work for me," and that was in 1990. And everything's been history since. Been set up since then. I started my own personal guide service in 2000. Dream Mountain Outfitters. So I'd worked for I ran United States Outfitters, which was the biggest guide service in North America at the time. And I ran them for 8 years. And I just wanted to go to, do my own personal thing that way, because you know, when you get big as a big outfitter, it's just a numbers game. Clients don't mean as much personal to you. And I wanted my clients to be personal. Most of my clients are 90% return. So from year after year, they already know who my kids are and, you know, girlfriends and whatnot, you know, and so we have a relationship. We send Christmas cards and stuff like that.
Girlfriends? Was that a plural? Better watch it.
34 years I've had more than one.
Good trouble.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've had the same one for 7 years now, but you know, I mean,
she must be desperate.
Hey, someone's got to do it, right?
Getting a little sticky.
It's been a blessing. You know, it's been the greatest job I ever had. You know, I mean, to me, when hunting season, elk season or bear season starts, you know, the 1st of August, it's like kid in a candy store. It's like the first day I went to be in the hunting guide. You know, it's never been work for me. It's always been just a fun adventure. And, you know, I've been pretty blessed. You know, I'm not rich, but, you know, I get to make a living and have a pretty good life because of it.
You run dogs too.
I run dogs too. Matter of fact, tomorrow I start bear hunting.
That's that's New Mexico.
New Mexico. Yep. I'll start hunting there tomorrow.
Good deal.
When did New Mexico season open?
Today.
They have it closed for dogs in the woods during archery season.
Yeah, so it's from September 1st to the 15th or the 24th. And then the 25th you can start hunting your dogs.
But you can run lions the rest of the time, you know what? All year.
you can hunt lions year round, which you know I do. You know, I mean, if any of you guys are dogmen, you know that, you know, if you want good dogs, you have to have a relationship with them, and having a relationship with them means that you got to spend time with them. And I know a lot of these guys that, you know, have dogs, and when it's bear season or when it's lion season, they put a dog box on and they're bear and lion hunters, you know. But me personally,
especially when that snow hits.
As soon as anybody that's got a poodle is a lion hunter. You know, and I mean, not to, you know, and I mean, God bless those guys. You know, I mean, not everybody gets to make a living, you know, what I do, and, you know, and I'm pretty blessed to do it, and, you know, and I'm not bragging, but, you know, I got a lot of time that I can spend with my dogs, and I'm glad I do, you know, because to make a good dog, that's what you got to have.
Absolutely.
You know,
That's the thing about Virginia. See, Georgia, he's got good dogs, but he's got it tough to make good dogs. We just can't run here like that.
When's your guys' season?
You know better, George. You know the dates better.
Yeah, basically I can run from August to the end of September in Virginia, but then I'm lucky I live on close to the line of West Virginia, so basically I can run from August to about the end of February. Yeah, depending on when the bear lay up. You know, in this area.
I've taken my dogs to West Virginia. That's where a lot of my clients come from, is West Virginia. So I've taken my dogs over there, and I've hunted, you know, in West Virginia. I've hunted in Wisconsin. I've hunted Nevada lions. I've hunted, you know, all over the place. I've been pretty blessed, man. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Where do you hunt in West? Well, what county? West Virginia.
He's not allowed to say.
Not allowed to say.
No,
I hunted over in Elkins.
Yeah, I hunt close to that same area, and actually basically east of Elkins is the couple counties in that area is where I hunt.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm familiar with Elkins. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they got a bear on every 10-inch center over there, and there's a lot of bears there, and a lot of dog hunters. If you buy a Toyota in West Virginia, it comes with a dog box.
It's welded on.
It's welded on. Factory made.
Yeah. So you do elk and deer and hound. So what do you think the relationship is between them hound hunter and deer hunters, in your opinion?
You know, I've had this conversation with a lot of people that don't understand. hounds. And, I mean, that goes for your spot and stock hunter, your spot and stock bear hunters as well.
Mhm.
They don't understand the concept of, what it takes to be a bear hunter, with dogs, and I've had a lot of conversations with guys, with the funny stories. I took a guy last year on a bear hunt, a wounded vet. He really didn't want to go. And he didn't tell me that until this year, because he killed a nice bear last year and then he came out as a volunteer this year. And he said, I got to admit to you, and he said, because we had killed another bear for another vet, and he was there. And he said, I got it when we were sitting there talking about the bear and just kind of admiring him. He said, I got to admit, he said, I really didn't know that bear hunting was this caliber. And he said, whenever you offered me that hunt, I was going to come, but I really didn't want to, because I always thought that bear hunting was, you let the dogs out and you're catching a bear, and it's that simple. And he says, I was completely wrong. He says, this bear hunting is a lot tougher than what people think. And, and I explained to him that it is. I said, but, at the end of the day, it's not about the bear in the tree. It's about you making a dog from 1 day old to what he is now, whether he's a good dog or a bad dog. Most of you hunters that are hound hunters know that it's about the dogs. It's not about that bear in the tree or the lion or nothing like that. It's just rewarding to make a dog from start to finish, and that's what it's all about for me, and I'm sure it's for a lot of you guys too.
Right.
We talk about shooting boards and stuff, and we all try. Well, in Arizona especially, because we have a female quota, we all try to shoot the big boar, not the females. But the deer hunters, because we have a quota now for deer, and all those guys, especially your buddy Kevin, gets onto those guys about shooting spikes. But when you're out spotting stalking deer and a bear runs across at 30 yards, that thing looks 400 pounds.
Oh yeah.
So I don't blame those guys. They don't have dogs. They don't get to put them in a tree like we do. Just like I don't deer hunt like those guys do. So they can shoot those big ones because they're out there scouting for the big ones. I'm putting bears in a tree. I can say yes, no. Right. So I understand their concept of shooting a spike, because I'm like, man, try to shoot a big. But man, when I'm not an archery hunter and I'm out there hunting archery season while I'm bear hunting, if I see a deer, I'm going to shoot a deer, just like they're going to shoot a bear.
Right. And I mean, I get that. And there was a spot, you can either call him a spot and stalker or you can call him a long ranger. Those are the two guys, the spot and stalkers and the long range shooters that are bear hunters. And, over here, after that fire, it kind of got where it was real open and you can, shoot a bear that are in the berries or whatever. And it's kind of got popular in this area. And some of those long range shooters, they're shooting it at 900 to 800. And they're trying to tell me they know it's a boar. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I've seen a lot of bears in the tree. And I said, I've had some that fooled me that I thought was a boar because, they were sitting wrong on a branch and they wouldn't move, or, and I was just trying to, predict from the head or, the body conformation or whatnot. But I've been fooled, and it's even hard. I've been under that tree with binoculars for an hour looking for, genitalia. And sometimes you can't do that, It might be sitting wrong, or you might be in a thick tree where it's just you're seeing pieces,
Yep.
I've took the cougar test to come out there, but that mountain lion test, I mean, I don't see it. It looks to me like it's extremely hard, especially.
I've seen females with big pumpkin heads. Where you thought it was.
And the thing about I don't know about you guys, but I know those guys in West Virginia, the way they hunt, they don't, and a lot of them, and I'm not, but the people that I know, if they put a bear in a tree, they're killing that sucker, whether it's 80 pounds to 200. And over here, I'm pretty thankful that, a lot of the houndsmen that are locals here, we kind of made a pact that we don't want to kill female lions or we don't want to kill female bears. But, every once in a while you do. But for the most part, us local guys we're kind of on the same team. And, for a long while, it was tough to cut a lion track here because, people people were killing females left and right, and in the last few years it's been pretty decent, and I mean, I think because the local houndsman has kind of thought about it, and he thought, you know what, let's catch a female and look at it, take pictures, admire it, let it go, and catch it another day, and it's not about the kill, like I said, it's about being able to pursue what you're going after, and it's been pretty damn good. Not everybody, not all towns are like that, but ours is pretty good like that.
Yeah.
In our area of Virginia, I would say most of the time, if it's a legal bear, which it has to weigh 100 pounds here to be a legal bear, if it's a legal bear, most guys in our area kill it. But the game wardens have been after us to thin them out,
Right.
because they get so many complaints from homeowners with bear coming, up on their porches after dog food and stuff like that. They want them thinned out.
Right.
Well, our game and fish is a little weird sometimes because we have a female quota, and like 3B where I hunt is like 1, right? I think it was 1 in preseason, but they killed 80 bear this year on nuisance calls. 80.
Did
80
they?
bears. Yes.
Holy cow! And that
I'm
was
not
all in
telling
that
you,
country club area.
I imagine it's pretty close. I mean, statewide, but a lot of people don't know that. I'm not even supposed to know that, but it
Right.
does. It happens, and I don't understand why they don't just raise that quota.
Well, we had we had a
instead of
biologist
doing that-
tell us.
Instead of doing that, do some depredation tags like they do them elk, and let let us locals or whoever draws that tag kill some of them bears, instead of them going to waste, because they go to waste.
Well,
They do.
It used to be here in Virginia that if you had a nuisance bear, that they trapped it and moved it. They'd trap it and move it somewhere. But we had a biologist tell us 2 years ago that they quit trapping them, that they just kill them now. If it's a nuisance bear, they kill it, because they said when they move them here for a nuisance call, that they just end up being a nuisance bear somewhere else.
Well,
they come back.
They do the same thing. They trap them here and they get an ear tag. Well, if you get 2 ear tags, you're done. But they take them and they transport them a long ways away. But here's the thing: I killed years ago. They used to have a program where they collared bears and they wanted to know they wanted to do a study on the bears. So I killed a collared bear. This was probably about 7 years ago, maybe 8. And I called the warden. I said, "Hey, I got a collared bear." And he said, "Let us have that collar." And I said, "I'm gonna let you have that collar, but I want to know where this bear. I want to know the data off of this collar." So, anyways, he gave me the data, and that bear was going from where I live all the way to San Carlos Lake, which is probably, as a crow flies, is probably 120 miles in some of the roughest country on the planet. He went there 2 times a year, and he did that for 3 years.
She was pretty.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was crazy. I mean, and then when I'm talking mountains, you can
Was
ask
that a
Chris.
boar? That
was
a boar?
That was a boar. And I couldn't understand why. He must have been going over there for the prickly pear or something. I don't know. That's a long way.
Prickly pear breeding. How old was he? Did they tell you how old he was?
I think he was 10.
Yeah, I imagine he's just making his rounds. That's a
crazy.
long ways.
That's a
I
long
heard
way.
I heard a long time ago, and if you guys know where Pigeon Forge is at, I know George knows where that's
Tennessee. Mm-hmm.
at. Yeah. I was told a long time ago that a bear's home range would be in our area, the way our land lays, would be something like Pigeon Forge to Roanoke. That they would consider that distance a bear's home range around here, and that's a long ways apart. That's about a 4-hour drive.
Well, they've took.
Yeah, well, Chris, I was talking to Wagner this year, and he told me that they're going to start doing bear collaring again. And I said, I can't wait, because I want to see where these bears go, and I want to see why, and I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that study, to be honest with you.
I bet they'll be surprised.
I know they've took him out of the. Oh, I know they took him out of the golf club, Torion, took him all the way to Chevelon Canyon, and they were back in 3 days.
Right, and that's a
long
way. They were taking them to Roosevelt Lake now. Roosevelt Lake now.
How many
that way
miles
they can go down to Scottsdale, Arizona.
How many miles?
Roosevelt's about Over 100.
Really?
Like, so 3 days they're traveling 100 miles. They're running 20. They just go. If you ever followed a bear, before I got dogs, I was just one of them spot and stock guys, and I would get on a bear track. Those bears walk straight up a 45-degree mountain with nothing to grip to. They just go. I mean, they just go.
I seen George walk up on you yesterday, 45 degrees. That
Not me. I skirted along mine this weekend. I skirted along it like a little baby.
That was a pretty steep ridge George walked up. It was about 45 degrees from him.
Worst one today.
Oh, it was the worst one today?
Yeah, it was worse. It was bad.
It's awesome.
So, Sonny, your vets, how did that happen? How did they get hooked up with you?
So when 9/11, during 9/11, I had I had shot a bull with a client, and he'd made a bad shot that morning. And when they make a bad shot, I usually give them about 4 hours. So I walked back to the truck, and I started my truck, and the radio was always on. And I remember hearing the aftermath of 9/11, and I thought it was an earthquake. And I looked at my client, and I said, "Must have been a hell of an earthquake." And then about a couple minutes later, it said, another airplane hit the other tower. And I looked at him, and so we kind of booked it to the lodge, and everybody was plastered to the TV. And I thought, holy cow. And, how it really affected a lot of these city folks. For me, it was just another day. Don't get me wrong. I was pissed, and I was upset. But it was just another day to me because, it's not like I can go do anything about it at that time. So after about 4 or 5 hours, I told that client, let's go look for that bull. He's like, no, I'm going to stay here and watch what's going on. So I went out there and I found the bull, and I quartered it, and I packed it out myself, and gave me a time to reflect about, what's going on and what we should do. Well, when I got home, I was married, and I think my son was 4 years old about the time. So I told my wife, I said, I'm going to enlist in the Army. She says, you're doing what? And I said, I'm going to enlist in the Army. And she said, why? And I said, because I'm pissed. And I said, I'm going to fight for a country. Well, anyways, she kind of talked me out of it. She told me that, your son will not have a dad, and I won't have a husband. And, reality was reality. So I didn't. And from that day on, I always felt guilty that here I am living a dream that I wanted to do my whole life. And haven't lifted a finger for our freedom. So I started, taking wounded vets on hunts. And, I knew the freedom was free. I just didn't know the price. And when I took the first vet I ever took was a double amputee, and he got hit by an IED. I didn't know what the hell an IED was. I didn't know anything about war. I just knew that there was war. I didn't know that there was rules. I didn't know any of that shit. And when he started telling me this, the more he told me, the more I got pissed, and he said, there's rules in war. He said, but we're the only ones that abide by them. He said, everybody else, there's no rules for them, but for us, there is. And he said that every bullet that they took, they left the barracks with, they had to be accounted for, every bullet. So if you got in a firefight and someone shot your buddy that's next to you, you can't shoot back until you're told. And for me, I don't give a shit if I'm told or not. I'm shooting back, and wow. I just felt, that it was pretty shitty. And, these guys were pretty out there, to fight a war that was not fair. And it was just a blessing that it was my passion to hunt. So I just wanted to share it with them. And that was I started doing that in 2011, and here it is 2023. And it's just been, I take anywhere from 40 to 60 vets a year and some kids too. And it's all a nonprofit. Everybody in the nonprofit don't get paid a dime. We just raise money, and all the money that goes straight to the organization for tags and, food and gas, and the guides don't even get paid. It's all a voluntary based organization, and it's called Sportsmen for Heroes. If you guys want it, you can find it on we got a web page, and we got it on Facebook, and on Facebook it's called We Are Sportsmen for Heroes. So check it out and friend us. And I mean, it's a great thing. And what else is cool is I've taken some vets, from West Virginia. I've taken some from Missouri and all over the place. And what they've done is they, hey, I want to host a hunt. Send me some vets. So and that's how it works. A guy will come on my hunt a time or two, and then all of a sudden he wants to host his own hunt. So send him some vets, whether it's fishing, hunting bears, or turkeys or hogs or whatnot. And that's how that's how we get to take more vets by everybody chips in. So it's a great thing.
You can donate tags too, right? You get donated tags.
I'm endorsed by the Game and Fish, so people that can't go on their hunt that they drew a tag, they can donate it to me and they can keep their points, and I can pick a vet that qualifies under the Arizona statute of a wounded vet. So it's pretty cool, man.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And like I tell everybody, everybody's patriotic when it comes to sitting at the dinner table and they say a blessing or whatever. But you want to really be patriotic, make a difference, do something, lift a finger, because I did it, and I'm the dumbest guy on the planet. I'm just a hunting guide.
I'll second. I'll back you up on that one.
I've been pretty. I've had some good people behind me, and it's been nothing but perfect. It's been good. I think we had on the archery elk hunt. I think we had 4 vets, maybe 5, and I think we killed 3 out of the 5. The other guys couldn't shoot or something happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
It's good.
So I'm looking on your website, and so you have it says you have adaptive equipment, electric side-by-side 4x4s, and what's that like? So it sounds like it doesn't really matter what their physical condition is, like you can make that happen.
I'll make it happen.
That's a lie.
That's
Sonny
amazing.
carries every one of them on his back.
I did. I had
That's
that. Matter of fact, that first double amputee that I took, I carried him on my back. Well, hell, I was a lot younger than that. Now I'm 52 years old, and this year, I had a kid that was terminally ill, and I carried him on his back. A year and a half ago, he was playing football, and now he can barely walk, and they say they give him 2 years to live, and he's only 15. And I'll tell you what, making a difference and making memories in that kid's life with his father you can't pay for that shit. You know what I mean?
Man.
It's been awesome. It's been real awesome.
That's awesome. Is there a way to can you nominate vets that you think would be interested?
Oh yeah, I've had a lot of guys that were nominated vets, and so the way that works is they have to fill out that paperwork for sure by their doctor, and then what I require is to fill out that paperwork, send me a copy of their DD-214, and write a bio of their military career, and then we put you in the system. And if I've had guys that wrote the story of a guy's military career that he didn't want to do it, so and I've taken some guys that way. And one guy was a real bad alcoholic, and his best friend said, this guy's not going to be around because he lost his wife and he this and that, and he turned to alcoholism. Well, anyway, we took him to Alaska to Kodiak, and he killed a couple Kodiak blacktails. And after the hunt, he called me up and said, "Hey man, I want you to know something." He says, I knew that, people love me like my family, but I didn't know some stranger from another town that didn't know me whatsoever loved me the way you guys do. And he says, he said, "You guys made a difference in my life, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to quit drinking." And this guy stays in touch with me, and he pretty much quit drinking, and those guys just need to know that they have support, that's all, because, if they don't feel like they have support, they turn to suicide and they turn to alcohol and drugs, whatever. But, they got to know that there's hope out there,
Yeah, those guys don't have the best support system at the VA either.
They don't.
No,
They don't.
I've got a brother-in-law that's, he's got some medical problems from military, and I've got my niece's husband. He actually got wounded by an IED. He gets around. He doesn't. You'd never know it by being around him, but they don't get the best support from the VA.
No, hell no.
and that weighs on them a lot. Like my brother-in-law, he's got a lot of anxiety issues and stuff with it. And his lungs are burnt out from the burn pits and stuff over there. So, and you can tell when he's going through something, the VA's not supporting him where they're supposed to. Either with
Well, you need to have him fill out, the paperwork and send it to me, and we'll get him out west.
I don't know if he'll come out there and hunt or not. Though he's never been a hunter. No, my
Well, I do a lot of other things. I do whitewater rafting. I do ATV rides. I do cattle drives. I do shed hunts. I do a lot of stuff because not all vets hunt. But I don't want to leave no man, because he doesn't hunt. I don't want to leave him where he
No man behind. No man
No
behind.
man behind. For
That's
sure.
really cool.
Yeah. We do snowmobile rides, ATV rides, cattle drives, shit like that.
Wow.
So there's something for everybody. Fishing trips.
Well, that's awesome. See, I thought it was just totally hunting. So that's that sounds to me like it's something to do for everybody.
There is, and I try not to leave no man behind. And there was one guy that was really bad, and I brought him out annually. I brought him out quarterly. He'd come 4 times a year, whether it was shooting cameras, a baby, elk or deer or whatever, or if it was shed hunting or elk hunting or whatever. He came out 40 times a year because he needed it. He was bad. And I try to help out those guys because I've seen too many suicides, and I've heard about this and I've heard about that, and it's always because those guys feel like they don't have a purpose anymore. Well, come out here and let's cut wood, or let's do something. Let's make a purpose.
We'll put you to work.
The littlest things, and you know what? To be honest with you, like when I do bear camp, which you haven't never made, Chris. Anyways,
I knew that was coming.
Hey.
I knew it.
That's true.
I knew it. Every year he invites me. And
He just wants to play. He wants to play. He's got people that he's guiding at the same time, so it's kind of tough because that first week, I just do it for the vets, and then it's hell breaks loose, and I just take a bunch of paid clients. But that first week is for the
listen,
vets.
I don't want to show up and steal all the thunder with my good looks. That's all it is.
You might.
That's probably.
I got to put my boots back on.
Yeah, right.
I better go now.
So, Chris, let's talk about. I've always had this question asked to me from a bunch of guys that come bear hunting with me. They want to know the difference between a bear dog and a lion dog. And so I tell them, here's the thing about a bear dog, and here's the thing about a lion dog. They both have their purpose. They're two different types of dogs. My dogs are bear dogs, but they also will hunt lions. But they're not going to grind out a lion track in the snow, in the dirt. That's not the kind of dogs they are. They'll hunt up, they'll catch lions in the snow. But if a lion track gets really, really tough, they have a hard time with it because they're bear dogs / lion dogs. And in my opinion, a lion dog, has to be a track-minded dog, a dog that is just real track-minded and real patient. And
real patient.
They have to work out a track, and when they make a lose, they got to turn around and start back over, and that's what makes a good lion dog that can pound out a dirt track or a hard, track in the snow or whatnot, burn out. And a lion dog, to me, you have to have a fire-breathing dog that just breathes fire and just has nothing but. He has to have a lot of energy, a lot of grit, be in shape, and just never say die, and that's what a true bear dog is, and I call all my dogs, I call them fire breathers because, I'm pretty blessed to have some pretty damn good lion or bear dogs, and they get the job done, and because whenever they rig a bear, they're off the box and they're gone, and they're just pounding, and a lot of my dogs are pretty fast. So whenever I transition from bears to lions, holy shit, I got to slow them way down, and I got to walk out a track with one of my dogs before I can let the other dogs out, because then it's kind of like a shit show. So
Brett knows exactly what you're talking about.
Hey,
with
nobody could have said that. I absolutely agree with you. And I've always said the same thing. I said, I got lion dogs that'll catch a bear, an easy bear.
Right.
I'm not going to bears. What
Right.
I do is I let dogs for 3 days.
Right.
I mean, but yeah, no, you said nobody could say it better. I totally agree with you.
And and everybody asked me, what would you rather do? And I said, you know what? I think a lion in a tree is more impressive than a bear. But if the good Lord would ever say you can only hunt one thing in the rest of your life, it would be bears for me, because I just like the action. I like to hear the race. It's a lot faster paced race going through the canyons, and that's just who I am, and don't get me wrong,
That's called
I love bears.
ADHD.
Huh?
That's called ADHD.
Yeah, probably.
Gotta be going. That's like Seth, huh? Oh, Seth, he's full of energy, right, Nicholas?
Oh yeah. Get all juiced up, go crazy.
And that, and that's the thing about a good bear dog, I mean, like, you're gonna be a fire breather, and a lot of lion hunters don't like that shit because they're just full of energy. Like whenever I open my box, and all of them are trying to get out that box like right now, and I'm holding some of them back, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, and I mean, I got some pretty damn good dogs they're disciplined, but when it comes to a bear, they forgot about what the hell discipline is, and sometimes I got to stand there when I open the box with a damn hot shot, because I kind of got to show it to them, and they know what that is. But those they just got the want, and they got the drive to they just love it, just like you would know about your lion dogs. You put a lot of miles on the mules with those dogs of yours, and that's a whole different ballgame.
I like the slower pace of the lion hunting. I like to see a dog try to grind out a track, and maybe that's my age too. I mean, I'm kind of old, and I enjoy it,
Right.
And I ran some bears when I was younger, and I caught some bears, but I never had like those guys would say top shelf bear hounds. I had dogs that would catch an easy bear, basically. Right. But from the first time when I got my dogs, they were lion hounds. I mean, and that's what they were bred to do. And that's, and that's what I got real fascinated with the old time dry ground lion hunters. And, and that was just something I was exposed to. And, when I first started, and it just became like a challenge to me. And, it's still a challenge to me.
Right. I see your videos, and I see some of your stories, and I really appreciate the way you talk about how you're riding through this canyon or tracks or whatever. It's really, I really enjoy them. Thank you.
Well, I think a lot of people who have done it can relate to it. How hard it is. Right. It's the guy who's never really been exposed to what it's like to just put a bunch of dogs on the ground and ride through the country and try to strike a track and trail him up and catch him. I mean, that's a lot of guys haven't been exposed to that, and they don't know how difficult it can really be.
Right.
I think a lot of people too don't understand is there's your houndsmen that have dogs that will drag you to the depths of the earth because they're trying to catch something. And there's the guys who have dogs that just run. And I've hunted with guys with dogs that just run. They just run. They're not chasing nothing. They're just running. And that's horrible. That's horrible to do. So it's hard to appreciate that. So there is that two separate houndsmen.
Oh, there is, and I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, there's some guys that like the sport of being a houndsman, but they're not at the caliber of a lot of, the good ones yet, but, they're trying. And I appreciate those guys, but sometimes they're in the way.
Yeah. And I'm not, my dogs aren't perfect.
Probably one of those guys.
He's a newbie though. He's a newbie and he's doing good. He's catching a bobcat.
Oh, that's awesome. That's even another caliber of a dog.
Oh, catch a bobcat.
Sometimes.
That's a feather in your hat.
Oh yeah, for sure. I used to have
He started off with the hardest catch. So
yeah, oh yeah. Where do you hunt bobcats at?
So I'm out in Oregon, and I mostly hunt the coast.
Don't hold it against him. He's not one of them Oregon people.
So do you
It's
deal with
not-
West Coast? Do you deal with the guy at West Coast Telemetry?
No, but just because I don't have any telemetry equipment.
Well, he does the GPS stuff too, but he's just called West Coast because he's been in business for a long time. And he used to be a bobcat hunter there, and he was a damn good one. And then
Okay.
they started doing a bunch of regulations and shit over there. And
Yeah.
he said, I just can't afford to drive to another state to hunt bobcats anymore. So he just started selling telemetry and GPSs and stuff like that. And he's a really nice guy. If you might want to, I know a lot of people use W, but try him out. He's West Coast Telemetry. He's right there in your neck of the woods.
You know, those little
Copy
guys, those little guys, a lot of these big guys, I'm going to kind of bring this up. A lot of these big guys think they pioneered. Nicholas knows where I'm going with this. Like the way of the houndsman, but it's these, Brett knows too, but it's these little guys. It's these little guys that don't have a lot of attention on them that's been
Right.
there from the start.
Right. And he's been there, man. He was a houndsman himself, and he started making a telemetry, and then he would, redo the batteries on the, the Johnson telemetries and all that stuff. But anyways, he's a really good dude. And you know what's good about him? He'll sit there and talk to you for an hour about dogs and about this and that. And it's kind of, I like that.
Yeah, in the chat here, Midnight Blue, he said that West Coast Telemetry, he's up in Washington, and I feel for him. Washington is like, there's no hound hunting up in Washington now.
So
I think the only thing you can run is raccoons.
He would always go to Oregon, matter of fact, now that you say that.
Yep, that's what everyone in Washington with hounds, they have to come down to Oregon to hunt, and it's just, it really sucks for them, man. I feel for them.
Yeah, he said he couldn't afford it anymore because it was just, getting out of hand. And that's the way, California is too. Gosh, I can't. If they ever opened up California for bears and lions, man, I'd stay there for months.
I bet.
Oh, yeah. I would love to go to California. I shouldn't say this. And do what these Californians did to us every time in Unit 23. Some people in Unit 3 being one.
Oh, yeah.
They come over there and blast everything. Little bears, big bears, females. They have 20 guys running with them, and they're out there just scavenging like heathens. It's annoying.
Yeah,
well, I know.
That happens here too. That happens here with people, and I don't have anything against them. I totally get it, but they come down from Washington, come and drop into all our best spots and just start shooting stuff.
Well,
and
you come into my house and eat what you want, but don't eat every damn thing in the fridge and leave a mess. You know what I mean? Right. You gotta give me a Dr. Pepper, you son of a bitch. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why 23 didn't open when the normal season opens anymore.
I know, I noticed that.
But guess where they all came?
Over in our country.
Over in our country.
Is there not a size regulation on a bear?
Yeah. What is it?
Is there not a weight limit on a bear out there?
It's a sow quota.
It's a sow quota, but the weight limit is, they say no cub, but the definition is kind of generic, so it doesn't. It's kind of a gray area,
If a bear's running by himself, is that a cub? Yep. And if I've treed some cubs. To me, anything under 100 pound is a cub.
Right.
But when you're a deer hunter sitting in a stand, that 80 to 100 pound bear, he looks big, and I get it. I get it.
Even being a houndsman and catching bears in the trees, those bears are deceiving as hell. Mm-hmm. They might look bigger than what they really are.
Well, that's what I was going to ask, if an 80-pound bear was considered, legal there. That's what I was going to ask.
It is.
If it's not with his mother, you can shoot. Our literature reads sow with cubs or cubs with a sow. Because it used to just say a sow with cubs. You could shoot a cub. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't shoot a 30-pound cub, but I want one. So I can have it go like this.
I want to find one ran over in the road.
And hold my toilet paper next to my crapper. That's all I want a 30-pound cub for. And so
I want a taxidermy mount for a toilet paper holder?
Yes. A little,
All right,
little
that'd be pretty
cub.
badass.
They
That'd be
sell
pretty
wood.
badass.
They sell wooden ones and pigeon forwards for that.
Nope, I want a real one. And then I'm gonna make it growl. No one's gonna know, but when you lift the toilet seat up, it's gonna be like, "Rawr, rawr."
Guys, I gotta
Well, I
go.
always want.
All right, Brett, thanks for coming on.
See, Brett.
Thanks,
I always
Brett.
wanted one of
We
those little
don't see
tiny.
you, Brett. It's dark.
I always wanted one of those little. He must be feeding his dogs or something.
Who, me?
I always wanted one of them little tiny cubs like that to put in a glass coffee table. You know,
Oh, yeah.
I thought that'd be cool.
See ya, Brett.
But
All right, have fun.
See
Bye,
ya.
Brett.
I want to tell Sonny, keep up the good work with the veterans and everything. That's great.
thank you, Brett. Appreciate you.
You
We'll get
bet.
him on again.
Y'all take care.
All right.
See you, Brett.
Where did he go?
He's actually on the side of a road. He was supposed to be
Yeah, he's on the
working,
road.
then he had to drop off some dogs. He says he had to drop some dogs. I think he was hunting.
He was gonna drop. He was gonna drop the box. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, that's what he's
Drop
dropping.
the
He's not.
Yeah.
He was actually supposed to host this tonight, and he got busy.
He just saw a lion
is-
cross the
what
road.
is-
That's why he's got to go.
Mhm.
So what is this? What is this? A podcast or just what is it?
It's a live, and it actually gets recorded, so
We're on
it'll be
YouTube.
on my channel. It'll be on the Anecdote of a Houndsman channel. If you go to the live, you can watch it again or send the link if you want.
Oh, that's
Somebody
pretty
to
cool.
watch it.
So how did you get all these guys? You know, the Virginia boys and the Oregon guys. And
Well, Johnny cooks, so we needed somebody to cook.
See, I'm not really a houndsman. I had hounds before. I'm not a houndsman. Chris kind of found me because I had a little YouTube channel. I've got a little YouTube channel. Chris kind of found me and just drug me in, and they've been really good to me. So
We started
Kinda.
it as a group. We were just a group that got together and picked on each other's videos and said you're stupid or as good. Brett's
so
real
you guys
good
do
at
it every
doing that.
Monday. You guys do it every Monday.
Now we do the live every Monday.
That's pretty cool,
So,
man.
and then we try to
Pretty
get
fun.
we try to get guests on. Getting people like this time of year, it's hard to get people on. George,
Right.
he's just a bear hunter, and he got Mountain Music and Mules. Right? Did I say that right?
Yeah.
He has
George
a
is
YouTube
very
channel.
humble, so he won't brag about himself, but he catches a
No.
whole lot of bears and makes really good videos about them.
Where are
He
you
tries
at?
to
Where
make
you-
us.
Where are you a
He's
bear
working.
hunter? Where are you a bear hunter at?
So I live in Virginia, and of course, so I bear hunt Virginia and West Virginia, and pretty much exclusively. So I'll hunt the East Coast up and down a little bit, but mostly I stick with West Virginia and Virginia.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
Nicholas, he's a bobcat hunter, and he just got into it. What, a few years ago? 5 at the most, right, Nicholas? When did you get into it?
Well, I started hound hunting about 4.5, almost 5 years ago. But I started out raccoon hunting. And then about 2 years into that, I started switching over into bobcats, and it has been very challenging.
He
To
wrote
say
a
the least.
book about it. He's our smart guy. He's the one that knows how to spell and use words and work with the computer actively. When I need something, I text Nicholas. I'm like, dude, how do I do this? How do I do this? Well, Google it.
Well, hey, I'm gonna have to do the same thing to you. I need help. I literally need to call you and I need to FaceTime with you to figure out how to weld on these bullet hinges on my dog
Oh,
box.
yeah.
Oh, they're easy.
Well, how I do it is I hold it with my finger and I tack it.
Oh,
Right.
is that it? Okay. All right.
Honestly,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you just put a little tack on it. What I'll do is
Yeah.
set it on your frame, put it on your door.
Yeah.
I set them together to where how it's actually going to open and make sure it's all blocked up, and then just
Uh-huh.
tack it on both hinges. And then you want to just kind of tack. You want to heat it up too much. Just kind of tack weld it through.
Mhm.
He's never
sure
been
it
a welder.
swings
And I
open.
said go buy a welder. Go to Harbor Freight and buy. But you didn't even go to Harbor Freight. He bought a good welder.
No,
See,
I
I
didn't.
don't
I
know
bought
if
one.
you
I bought
got-
one off Amazon for like
Oh, he
$150. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen Chris's house, but this guy, he's a collector of riffraff.
I owned a scrap
Snippet.
yard.
Did you ever finish that horse trailer you were building?
That's all I got. That's all I got to do is put the ramp on it. I built the ramp.
Yeah.
But I have so many projects. Yeah, I
Oh,
did bring it up here. It was down in Phoenix, down where I was
Oh,
staying
dude.
in Maricopa. So I did
Right.
get it brought up here. So I just got to finish it. My Mad
Nice.
Max trailer. I bought that trailer for $100, and then
I know.
I totally stripped it apart and redid it, lifted it, put fenders on it with storage unit. So
Real
Yep.
rednecks.
real redneck crap right there.
You sure you're not from West Virginia?
No, you know how you know you're not from West Virginia? You say acorn, not acorns.
Acorn. It's an acorn.
No, they call
Sonny
it.
knows. Sonny knows what they are.
Over there, they call it mass.
That's true.
They call it mass. First
Yep.
time I ever heard mass, I'm like, what the hell's mass? And it's whatever the bears are feeding on, acorns or whatever the hell they eat, mushrooms or whatever. They call it mass.
Mass?
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I just thought
With a
mass
T,
was
right?
what Catholics went to. I mean, I really
Yeah, that's what I thought for sure.
It's
They
around
do
here
call
too.
They call it mass. Do they
Yeah.
not?
Yeah, it's in my part of the country. It's like, where's the mass at? I mean, that's a big.
Right.
You're gonna hear it at the local stores and stuff. If you go in there and talk to the old timers, like, where's the mess falling?
Yeah.
They just call it feed here. What's the feed?
That's what we call it.
Yeah.
You go to the ridge and be like, man, this ridge has a lot of mass.
Yeah, right.
If you
Right.
said that to me, I think you'd be talking about how wide the ridge was, or like how big the ridge was. I'd be like,
That was mass with
Yeah,
a T
okay.
at the end. M-A-S-T.
I took for is it an actual? I mean, I never thought about it. I figured it was in like the dictionary and everything. I never.
No, I never heard of it. I never knew what mass
Here's-
was until I went to West Virginia.
Okay, here according to Wikipedia, mast is the fruit of forest trees and shrubs such as acorns and other nuts. The term derives from the Old English maced. I don't know. It's that letter that's an A and an E combined, meaning the nuts of forest trees that have accumulated on the ground, especially those used historically for fattening domestic pigs and as food resources for wildlife.
You
Wow.
are right, Chris. He is the smart one.
I told you. I told you.
I'm just good at Googling.
at least
We
once
all-
a week. At least once a week, he does this. At least, son.
Yeah, because we all just stand around looking stupid. He's like, "Oh God, here I go. Listen, guys, this is what it is."
You got to have a smart one in the bunch.
I will say this: when he said that about being an old English term, about it going back to the old English, they say that our dialect here is the closest
Yeah.
to the original Queen's English. So
Who
when you
I've
talk
heard
about
that.
us
From
talking
Virginia?
funny, we don't talk funny. Y'all just changed the way y'all talk out there.
Yeah,
Well, we make it sound more intelligent. Is what it is.
Hey, you know the girls in California say yes, you may, and the girls in Virginia say y'all can.
Oh, that's
What do you
awesome.
got going on? You got some bear hunting starting tomorrow, Sonny?
Yeah, I got bear hunt starts tomorrow, and then I got a muzzleloader elk hunt starting Friday,
That's right.
and then I hunt that till Thursday, and then I leave on the 6th to go muzzleloader hunting over by Rio Doso. And then after that, I think
You're
I
not
got
going to be here
15
opening weekend of bear?
Nope.
Hmm.
Nope.
Well, good. I can sneak into your unit and kill all your bear now.
So
You know,
when you go muzzleloader hunting, will the elk still be bugling during the muzzleloader season?
Oh yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. This year they will be, right? Because they
Well, the hell,
started
that's a
really late.
Well, that's usually about the 25th is the peak. Whenever you start peaking out, and they'll peak for about 2 weeks.
See
Week and a
that?
half.
See now, when I was talking about my niece's husband earlier in the military, that's when he went to Colorado, and he's only been elk hunting one time. He's been elk and mule deer hunting one time, and he went to Colorado during muzzleloader season, and of course they got the call because the elk they were bugling.
Right.
I know tomorrow I'm going over to Buchanan County to see the elk that Virginia's got here. So
Oh, nice.
Johnny's
They should be.
coming
they're
over
bugling
to
up
lion
there,
hunt.
what'd you
Huh?
say?
They
Johnny's
should be
coming in-
bugling over there too, right?
Say that one more time, Sonny.
They're bugling over there too.
Yeah, they're bugling right now. There's actually a webcam. If you go to Virginia's DWR site and you go to the live cams, you can find an elk cam for over there.
That's pretty cool.
They do tours. And there's a local Baptist church here that's doing a tour. And my buddy's a pastor there, and I didn't say anything to him about going with him. You know, I just didn't want to run in and ask. But one of the guys that's going actually sent me a message early this morning and want to know if I wanted to ride with them over. So I'm going to ride with them over tomorrow and view those elk at Bugle.
That's awesome.
Well, which will be real cool for me because I've never got to see anything like that. So
see, Chris, that's shit that we take for granted, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, y'all take it for granted.
I mean, out my back door right now, there's a few bugling right now. As we
Yeah,
speak.
me too.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I've had them come in. My wife was here by herself one time, and she's like, she called. I just heard a scream. It's in the backyard. And I was by the hay. She's like, yeah. I said it's an elk. Nuh-uh. I had a camera. I had to set a camera by there, and it was an old elk come in there and would jump my fence and eat my alfalfa out of my haystack.
Right.
So,
I'm
So,
going
Chris-
to try to come out there sometime. I'd be tickled to death just to get a cow, though. You know, I'd be
Oh,
happy
yeah.
with a
Oh,
cow.
you can draw it down
lot
cow
of
tag.
lot of
every
over
day.
the counter, lot of over the counters.
Yeah.
He's coming
Yeah.
out to New Mexico at the end of October.
No, the middle of October. I'll be out there 17th through I'll be hunting the 17th through the 22nd.
Lion hunting.
That's coming up.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
getting
lion
close.
hunt over there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be hunting with Bency.
Oh shit. He's a hell of a houndsman though. I'll give it to him about that. The guy's a hell of a houndsman.
He does. That's all he does.
Yeah.
Brett,
He-
So,
Brett,
but it sounded like
Brett
there was
probably-
a but in there. He's a hell of a
Yeah.
houndsman, but what's Johnny in for? Give him a little foreshadow.
He'll wear him out.
Nah,
He'll wear him out.
I don't like to talk crap about nobody. Unless they're in my face.
Yeah.
my wife's sitting
And
over there and said, I do.
I've had some words with Bency in his face. But whatever.
It's a hunter houndsman guide thing.
No, it's not even that.
No.
It's not even that. We'll just leave it at that. You know, I mean,
You
you'll see
You either love
Huh?
Sonny or you hate Sonny. I just haven't figured out
Because-
which one it is yet.
because here's the thing. I call a spade, and a lot of people don't like to hear a spade, you know, and that's the way it is. You know, one thing about me, you'll always know where you stand with me because I don't fucking, excuse my language. I don't know.
Beep.
I don't know. I don't hold back. If I think it, I say it. You know, but you know,
Sometimes he says it before he thinks it too.
Sometimes, yeah. I used to be way bad about that, but now I'm kind of a little better. But you know, if you hunt with Bency, you're probably gonna run a line and you're gonna do good. He's a hell of a houndsman. I won't take that away from him for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So Chris,
I hear
let's
that.
talk about, huh?
Do you know who Pinnacle Outfitters is?
Yeah,
Al Benton. Now, he's from West Virginia.
yeah. Alan Bennett's from West Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a buddy that's hunted out there with them. They went with under Al, but they brought their own dogs out and hunted out there.
Mhm. All right.
And
What you know?
he kind of told me that Al said, you know, if you went in an area and Bency was hunting, if there was something there, he probably had it up and had it running.
Yeah, he's a good houndsman. Hey, Chris, let's talk about, in my opinion, and you know, I mean, I know that you have, because I have a lot of land where I live, and I can let, you know, my puppies when they're born, you know, I can let them just be puppies. And what's good about that, you know, a lot of people are not blessed with a lot of land, so whenever they have puppies, they put them in a kennel right away. So I'm a big believer that if you have land and you can let a puppy roam until they're about 8 months, you got a better dog because they teach themselves how to hunt. Because I got some dogs up there right now hunting. I can hear them trailing right now. And I know that where you live, you can do the same thing, Chris. And what do you think? What's the bear hunter from Virginia? What's his name?
Oh yeah, yeah. Little George is what most people know me by, but definitely, I'm lucky to live in a place where I can. Usually, I'll start pinning them up when they really start, Whitetail deer is a big off game around here, and there's plentiful. So when they start running the deer a good bit, then I'll start. That's when they're ready to go hunting.
Right. So my dogs, from the time they're I'd say 10 weeks, 11 weeks, they're trailing rabbits, quite a bit, and squirrels and whatnot, and a lot of people are like, well, that's a trashy dog. But, every dog that I've had in my kennel that are really good dogs, they've got to grow up that way. And they're really easy to break from being trashy.
Oh yeah.
Because, I like to run my dogs, before, I like to run my dogs a lot, in my side-by-side, and there's a lot of elk here. So the first time you're running them and the elk crosses the road and they start going after them, all you got to do is shock them one time and they won't never run that. They won't run it again. And if they do, all you got to do is tone them, and I think that's the best thing that you could ever do for a pup is let him grow up learning how to hunt himself,
Yeah, I know.
Trash breaking, so.
Here in Virginia, shoot, I typically let them run whatever when they're if they're under a year old, and
Right.
most of the time you don't have to shock them off. When you start putting them on bear, and if you can, I'm lucky to be able to hunt about daily. So once you start taking them out daily and they realize that that it just clicks with them, they quit running trash most of the time.
I agree with you 100%, man. I agree with you. And it's almost like they're natural, and then and they got that trailing mind in them where they'll trail too, because that's just automatic,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That is pretty much exactly what my mentor has told me, like with my young dogs. Basically, just first year, let them run, and then start. Once you start getting them on some actual game, some trees, and start shooting some stuff out to them, then start thinking about trash breaking them. And
Right.
it's interesting. It's interesting to hear you say that kind of same thing as well, because I've also heard the opposite opinion, where some people will say, like, you want to be more strict, like the whole thing. I don't know. There's those methods where you take like deer tarsal glands or whatever and wrap it up in a bunch of electric fence or something and let those dogs just like self-correct themselves.
Put them in
It's interesting.
Put them in a
It's cool to hear you
55-gallon
say that,
barrel.
because that's kind of
right. I've lived in my house where I've got a lot of acreage. I've lived here for 10 years. And I've got to raise a lot of dogs the same way. And, and Chris will even tell you that you just let those dogs trail, whether it's an elk or a rabbit or a squirrel or a deer, you just let them trail it. Mm-hmm. Whatever. And you have a better damn dog. I promise you.
100%.
That's cool to hear you say that.
Don't, in my opinion, I don't think that you need to start shocking them right then. You start and like I told, Mr. Virginia, that, shocking them after, you start hunting game to break them off of stuff it's not hard. It really isn't. It's almost like natural that they don't even hunt that other stuff anymore. It's crazy.
The puppies will break themselves.
Right.
If you keep them in the woods enough, they will break themselves. I mean, you have to give them a correction once in a while, but typically, yeah.
It's tough starting out, but once you get your dog set and you got older dogs, literally you're just dropping your pups. You hardly have to trash break if they're running with something that's trash broke. They know what they're running. They're running bears with these other dogs. They're treeing bears with these other dogs. And if I'm not saying a deer runs out, they're not going to go after it. But, I love watching them when they're 3 months old in the yard and they're chasing that stupid rabbit or pack rat or
house cat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny. I was talking with Josh Michaelis, the coon hunter guy from he's with Joy Dog Food, big competition guy. And I was asking him about, like, what does he go, with his competition, like very high test competition dogs, what does he do for like trash breaking? He was like, well, for the fast game, deer and coyotes, he's like, we don't break them at all, because that's just going to take them further into the woods, and eventually they're going to bump a raccoon up a tree and start treeing it.
Yeah, I tried that with
You know
Bear.
what? You know the. I've always been a believer in that, and like I said, I've been pretty blessed to have, a lot of acreage that I can just let dogs just run, rapid, and I like to, when they start roaming too far, then that's whenever they get in the kennel, but, I have a dog here that's, well, one of my best dogs that I got killed about 3 years ago, he lived on the porch. I mean, he was a house dog until you put him in that dog box, and then he was hell on wheels, whether it had been a lion or a bear or a bobcat or whatever it was. And then you get done with the hunt, he'd lay on the porch. You tell him load
Right.
up, he was a different dog. And and I have a dog like that right now, but she's a little female. She's the same way, but I'm kind of torn about spading her because she gets to just run amok, but I don't want puppies from a damn strange dog. So I'm thinking about spading her. I was telling my girlfriend that today, and I'm torn about that.
You're gonna regret it.
I
Like
think
you're gonna because you
I think
don't
so.
you want to be able to get puppies out of her. Is that why you're worried?
Well, I really don't run females at all. I have 2 females,
Okay.
and she's one of them. So her mom and dad they just feel the best pups on the planet, and they're just badass. And they're getting older, and I'd still like to have some of that blood. So I think I probably would want to breed her one day, but I kind of like leaving her on the porch too. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn about that. Really am.
Yeah.
You just got to keep an eye on her. Got to keep an eye on her.
Right.
That's a bad thing. I think
You
I
need
got
like a
6,
chastity
7.
belt for her.
Yeah. If they
I was
made
gonna say
it,
an
if they
IUD,
made,
wouldn't it be
if
great
they
if
made
you
a
did an
plan,
IUD for a dog?
well, if they made a Plan B
that would
pill
be
for a
great.
dog, I'd be happy.
Yeah, but how the hell would you know?
Well, when you walk out and they're locked up,
That's why
you're shoving a
Well, yeah,
Plan
but,
B down her throat.
Yeah,
you can get
true.
a shot. If
Yeah,
you can get the
shot.
vet,
Can you?
if you can get the vet to do
Yeah.
it,
You got to
you
go
I've
to
heard
the
about
vet.
that. I hear it's really
What
hard
is
on
it?
them though.
it makes
Is
them
it?
cycle. It makes them cycle again. I think if I'm saying it right, it's a Ludolase shot. We've given it to cattle before. You can give it to cattle to make them cycle if they've been bred and abort the calf, or if you want to breed at a certain time, you can give that shot to a group of heifers or a group of cows, whatever. Make them cycle
Really?
while you've got a bull with them. Yeah.
That's crazy.
My females hunt. I think they're more meticulous in hunting. My males, sometimes the males just get sidetracked, especially if they're not cut.
Well, female seems like that they're more patient.
They are.
Hmm.
And then I got 1, 2, 3. I got like 6 females right now, and half of them are in the heat pens, which is good because they'll be out of heat before here, for bear season.
Right.
So,
Well, Brett says his females are just more slower, more grind out of track dogs. Is what he says all the time.
Yeah.
Now he says if he really hits a good lines track, he would rather go back and get his males. But he just take his group of females out. The way he talks, he can control them better. When he goes on one of his overnight stays, he said, his females will lay down beside of him and go to sleep. His males will, run around all night and run anything that comes into camp. So
just like every other male on this planet.
Toxic masculinity at its
I want
finest.
to, Sonny, what kind of dogs do you have? Do you just have mixed breed dogs, or do you have walkers or blue ticks or English?
Yep.
So I have, I kind of started my own breed and it consists of a blue tick and a red tick. And that's what those 2 dogs right there throw the best pups on the planet. And it's crazy that every once in a while there'll be a walker dog come out of there that look like a walker dog. So somewhere back in their
Purple ticks.
in their genes, they probably have a walker in there, probably. But you look at these dogs, they look like because I don't have no paper dogs, but they look like a true blue tick and a true red tick. And they're red as heck. And some of their puppies are red ticks and some of them are blue ticks. And I've had a couple that were walkers looking.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the blue tick originally was English and they broke off. And I think maybe years ago that the walker dog was classified with the English dogs. George, or am I right? I seen that you kind of
It might be. I really ain't exactly sure, honestly.
George knows that his dogs catch a bear.
I watched some lion hunters one time, and they were talking about that the blue tick broke off and had their own, their own breed. That every once in a while you would get a red ticked up pup, more red
Right.
tick out of a blue tick. But I'm pretty sure that they done that. So, and I'm kind of thinking that the walkers go way back to the English too.
Before
I thought they came from the foxhounds.
They may have. I may be wrong.
Like from English, like straight up from Europe or whatever.
Before I started, making my own line of dogs, I kind of liked a walker that was mixed with a blue tick. I because I think the walkers are a little bit faster, and I think your blue ticks are a little bit more track minded. So I kind of like that, but I could be wrong, but that's
I got a question about breeds right here, and I've been noticing this a lot lately because I've been running some real long runs. But my walkers do not drink like the blue ticks drink. Them blue ticks drink a lot of water. And I tell you, I got these walkers, and they're all brothers and sisters, but those walker-looking dogs, I just ran and had Sydney, and she didn't drink. Like, I had a blue tick. My son had a blue tick that drank 4 gallons of water if he'd let it. We had to pull the water. He kept going back to it. But my little walker,
did he have bad kidneys?
I don't know, man. That dog was wore out, but I had a bad race. I had a dirty, bad country race this weekend in Globe. So it was. I mean, it got to big cliffs and mines and all in one day, and we had to walk down and park the mules, and it was a good day. Now that I'm out of there, it's a good day.
Yeah, always a good day when you can trail.
Oh, we had it bluffed up. We just couldn't get to it. We couldn't get to it to see it. We couldn't get to it to get the dogs. It was bad. I mean, it was bad.
Well, guys,
it's what, 10 o'clock your way?
Yeah, it's time, and I still got to drive 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Well, George, this person here wants to know, Chris put it up there, how many bears you've treed this season.
That's why he's trying to leave real quick so he don't have to answer.
I honestly don't know. I really don't know. We don't. We try one a day if possible. So I don't know, but we probably average one a day. Because some days.
How many days have you gone out? Let's just do the hard math here.
Here we go. Nicholas is gonna throw it in there.
He's gonna Google it.
I think I've probably got around. Oh, let's see. I've probably got around since August, probably 30 or 40 videos, but I don't video every day. So I don't know. I really.
What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Mountain Music and Mules.
I'll subscribe to that.
Right there.
Another question: How many dogs do you run at one time? Are you one of those guys that run 20?
No, I got basically. I'll typically hunt about 8 to 10 at a time, and usually it's like 6 or 7 what I'd call decent dogs. They'll catch a bear once in a while, and then I always keep a couple puppies running around.
Right.
And one.
So, I mean, like when I go to West Virginia, those guys got 25, 30 dogs. I'm like, you guys got a bunch of Me Too dogs. I said, why don't you guys just draw your pack down to 6 to 8, and then you'll know what dogs are doing what, instead of a bunch of dogs that are just following.
Hey, I've typically with our bear style here in Virginia, and because in the terrain we hunt, speed you need speed, but usually it's one dog trees the bear. Yeah, the other dogs get there, but usually it's one dog that actually catches and get the bear up the tree, and usually that's my little mountain face.
I was getting ready to say,
Scruffy.
He's got one really bad to the bone feist, Sonny. I mean, he's got one really bad, mean little feist. He ain't afraid of nothing.
That's awesome.
He's fun
I'd
to watch.
say Scruffy is responsible for the majority of the views you get on YouTube.
And honestly, I got to give him credit. I mean, I feel like I would tree most of these bear without him, but he usually shortens my cases. He's
Cool,
been
man.
well, probably the last, not the one I treed this morning, probably before that, the last 8 to 10 bear. He's been the one that actually put him up the tree.
He
Like,
just got,
you know, like my baddest of bear dogs, he's getting older now, and he was always he was the ace. He was the Michael Jordan of bear dogs in my pack, and now he's getting older, and he'll start it, but he's like third in line now to get to the tree. 'Cause I got some dogs that are like 2 and 3 years old that are just kicking ass, but it really makes me sad to see because I mean it's done that my whole life, but I just hate to see my good dogs, you know, disappear. You know,
Yeah,
I know.
I'm
My
trying-
Dirty,
it sucks.
my lead dog Dirty 9.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And, you know, and a lot of people are like, well, that's when you got to get rid of those dogs. I'm like, I'm not in it to get rid of them.
no.
Those dogs deserve to be in my
No.
kennel from start to finish. You know,
Amen.
Yep.
I was with one of my buddies one day, and he had a dog that was about 12, and the dog's name was Rock, and he turned everything else loose on a hot track. We crossed the road with a bear, and I said, "What have you got in the box? Left in the box?" And he said, "Rock." I said, "Well, turn him loose. He's having a fit." And he said, "I'm afraid I'm going to have to go in there and get him one day. He's getting old." And I said, "Well, you don't want to be left on." I said, "You don't want somebody telling you when you get old that you have to stay on the front porch that you can't go to. Just turn him loose." I said, "You may have to go in there and get one of these young dogs and carry it out too." I said, "Let him run."
right.
And he did. He let him run, and that bear crossed the road about 4 times before they ever got it treed on the little old mountain. They'd run up one ridge, come back down and cross the road, and run up another ridge and come back down and cross the road. And a boy killed a bear down the road, and he said, "Well," they called all the dogs, and he said, "Well, I'm going to go up there and get Rock. He's crossing the road, I think, where they crossed the road the first time." He went up there and got him, and he went up there and got him, and he was coming across the road, trailing where the bear had crossed the first time. I said, "See, he had fun of it. Let him out of the box."
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I let them hunt until they can't, you know, and I mean, and then you got to leave them. And I'm like, gosh dang, it's because I had this one dog this sucker was only like 30 pounds, and his name was Chase. And this dog was the catching this sucker on the plane. It didn't matter. He was doing it by himself a lot of times by himself, you know, and it just made me sick to see him get old because, you know, I mean, he got like an old man where he about withered away, you know, and I mean, it was tough to watch him do that, you know, but, you know, I'm not one of those guys that's, you know, oh, this dog's already past his prime, I'm going to sell him. I can't do that, you know. I'd rather sell a dog that's coming into his prime than a dog that's been with me from start to finish, you know.
Oh yeah.
I took Cece till she was 15, and I just wouldn't let her run in. I wouldn't let her run with the dogs until they were treed. And I make sure I was
Right.
kind of in, and then I just let her out, you know, when we only had a few hundred yards to get in there.
Right.
Let her be tough.
Good for you. Hell yeah.
You know?
Hell yeah. Well,
Well,
I'm gonna
guys.
I'm gonna start subscribing to your YouTube channel. Keep up the good work, man. I know what it takes to be a consistent bear hunter.
Yeah,
You know?
And make videos. That's the tough part.
And make
Editing.
and make
Mhm.
videos. Hell yeah.
the worst
Oh.
part.
Well, Sonny, we appreciate you coming on.
Hey, you know, if I'm not guiding, you know, next Monday, I'd like to, you know, I kind of enjoyed this, you know, and I might bring in a, you know, Chip or something, you know.
Yep. Well, you
Does
bring him in to catch all your bears. You might as well bring him in to talk for you too.
You might as well, huh?
You might as well.
May as
I
well.
need him to come help me. Listen. I've been chasing bears with that res in 3B. I go down the globe, and our dogs ended up on the dang res down there by the river. And I'm like, I'm done with this res. I was 5 miles away from that res, and my dog still ended up on the res down there.
Oh yeah.
Jeez. Just
That's
get
why I
me.
stay away from it.
Well, we appreciate
But
you coming
gentlemen,
on.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, it was fun to come on here and chat a little bit. You know, it's good to see people in the other neck of the woods to know that they do the same thing I do, and it means a lot, man. So thank you guys, and you guys have a good week, and I'm out.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right. See
Talk
y'all
to you
later.
later.
Coming
Phil.
on, man.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
All right, George. You
Yeah.
out of
Yep.
here too?
Yep, I'm out of
Sounds
here.
good.
See you guys later.
All right. All right, George. We'll
See you,
talk to you
George.
next time. So, well, that was
Uh-oh.
fun. That was good stories. Some good stuff.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome.
I take back all that bad stuff I said about Sonny now. Man, do you see my camera go off? My camera went off.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened?
Why?
Well, I have it plugged in, but I have a different plug-in, and it's not charging my battery fast enough for my GoPro.
Oh.
I need to find a quick charger or something, and it was it went down to 1%. Did you see me? I felt like I was in Back to the Future, where
Yeah,
Marty
you started fading out. I thought you
I
needed more
did.
lights.
Well,
Yeah.
I turned my light, and I'm like, I'm looking at my GoPro. I'm like, what is it doing? But I felt like Marty McFly when his picture's disappearing in Back to the Future. So
Yeah, I could make
had
that
to
happen.
put a
If
new-
I just turn this off.
I had to put her.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know what mine. I only have the one light in here. If I turn mine off, I'd probably go dead. That's it.
Yep.
So, well, guys, it's
Little
been
behind
fun.
the scenes.
Been
Yeah,
fun.
definitely. That was a great live chat. Thanks for bringing Sonny on. That was fun chatting with him.
Yeah, I've been trying to get that guy on for a month, and it just never
Oh, really?
added up. He was in New Mexico, and then he's trying to be back by 5. He didn't make it back by 5. So I got another guy too that's going to come on, and all he does is line hunt down kind of south of me. He's going to be a real interesting one. He said he'd come on. I'll try to get him scheduled up.
He an outfitter too.
Yeah, he does he got some good mules too. So Nichols, his name's Nichols. Jared Nichols.
Those outfitters must be
Max
thick
Nicholson.
out west.
Yeah, but to find a good one, I don't really advertise because I'm not as good as these guys. You know what? That video I just made this weekend, I say on it, I'm like, you may think I'm tough, but I'm nothing compared to some of these guys that are out here doing it. Mike Roots, that guy's just an animal, that guy will go, and not like I won't go, but I was wore out. I was wore out Saturday. I mean, we were deep in stuff we shouldn't have been in, and I didn't want to go that way. We were supposed to go south. Our dogs, I think we jumped the bear in the Manzanita, and it took us straight north, right in the reservation, down on the Salt River Canyon, down big cliffs into mines.
So what's the deal? You can't go. So if your dogs end up on the res, like you're not supposed to go on the res, or what?
I'm supposed to call the game warden, and they help you get them off. But I usually just dive in and get them and get out. But there was no diving in.
Calvin wasn't Calvin saying that you can hunt the res, but you just have to you have to get a permit or something?
Up on the Navajo, that's a different res. Up on the Navajo res, yeah, I guess.
Oh, you're
That's
talking
what he
about a
said.
different reservation.
Oh yeah, I was on the San Carlos side of Apache reservation.
Okay.
If
Got
I
it.
remember right, the way he talked, you just had to have a tag.
In Navajo, on the Navajo res.
Yeah, I'm just talking about what Calvin said on the
Yeah.
Navajo reservation.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had to have a-
So
you
you're
had
on
to
a
have a tag.
totally different reservation.
I
Got
was
it.
on,
But-
yeah, and what's funny is you
But
cross
that
the
bar
bridge,
tag's $1,000.
something like that.
Yeah, it's He said $1,000.
But I'm on,
Damn.
so on this side of the bridge, it's San Carlos Apache res. On the other side of the bridge is White Mountain Apache res. So it was like two of them.
Hmm.
But it was a good time. So, I have a
Crazy.
video coming
You
out.
got any videos coming up, Johnny? I saw you hit over. You crossed the threshold. You're over 1,000 subscribers. Nice work on that.
Yeah, I think I'm up to 1,030 right now. I don't have
Awesome.
anything. I don't have anything ready to go out. I've been trying to help my son the last several days work on a place he's getting ready to move into. So,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and
That's
we're
cool.
having a tough time with flooring right now. The floor's not completely level in the place, and I've been trying to put laminate flooring in it, and it doesn't want to lay. So I don't know if it's the laminate floor that has been bought or if it's us or if it's the floor in the place where it's not.
Oh, it's the
completely-
floor. It's never the installer ever.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so you're good. It's
So
the floor.
I asked them today if I said, "What do y'all think about carpet?"
There you go.
With shag carpet with big foam.
Big foam. Okay, I'll remember
There
that.
you go.
I told him, I said, "I'll pay for it. I'll pay extra. We'll take this laminate flooring back we haven't opened, and I'll pay the extra for somebody to come install the carpet
Yep.
because I'm tired of fighting it." So,
Alrighty.
but I need another like 430 hours, something like that, to have my
Yeah.
4,000 hours watched.
Get to watching.
Oh, okay.
But
People
my
need to get to watching.
but like I told you all before, my very first video from trying to salt that venison ham, that deer ham, that is what is getting the subscription.
Driver.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I've got total lifetime views. I've got like 25.8 thousand.
Nice.
That's pretty good in a year time, I would think, for a small channel.
You just gotta. It's that time of year to do it again.
I
You
got to
get that lion. You need to get that lion loin.
I'm
Can you
going-
salt cure a lion ham?
I don't know about that. I'm going to try to smoke. I'm going to try to smoke some of that line and make some like pulled kitty, I guess, instead of pulled pork.
I just shoved my stove full of elk jerky drying right now.
Oh wow! Thanks a lot,
Nice.
Chris. Appreciate that.
7 pounds of elk jerky.
Yum.
I
Sounds
want.
good.
I want to come elk hunting. I really want to come out west and go elk hunting.
Over the counter. There's some
Man,
units
freaking
that
elk hunters. The elk hunters are keeping me out of the woods right now.
I want.
The
I
elk-
want.
Aaron,
archery elk season. I mean, I could be out there, but I don't know, man. I used to elk hunt, and I would feel a little bad
I'm
about
that guy. I'm that guy that's
busting up
running them
their-
dogs.
screwing up their. Well, I just don't want an arrow
They
shot through
don't
my
screw
dogs.
up. They don't screw up their.
Can you
I know.
bobcat hunt at night?
Yeah,
We can't.
yeah. I should just go out at night and quit being a wuss.
Do you free and tree everything, or do you shoot some game out?
At this point with raccoons, I don't shoot
Oh.
anything. But I mean, if it's a bobcat, I got a lot of dogs that need to chew on a bobcat. So yeah, it's getting smoked.
I
There's
keep
more
thinking
coons than bobcat too.
I'd love to go bobcat hunt sometime too, but Oregon is a long way to go.
Yeah, it's a long way.
I'm 1,000 miles from you, right? Isn't that what
Yeah,
I'm
just
from you?
about pretty much. Yep. Yeah, you were talking about Seth Hall from Houndsman XP. He's actually I think he's going to come out in February to come bobcat hunting with us.
Where's
that's
he from?
cool.
New Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah, he's like 20 minutes from Brett. It's funny.
Oh.
My mentor listened to my podcast episode with Seth, where he was getting all crazy, talking about his greyhounds catching jackrabbits. And my mentor was like, "Man, I got my best cat dog. He could catch jackrabbits like nothing." And so he wants to take his best bobcat dog down to New Mexico and
To
put
catch
it, head to head with one of Seth's greyhounds. And I'm just like,
What a video.
let's
That'd
do
be
it.
a good video.
Let's do it. It'd be hilarious. But the thing is, we were talking about it, and I honestly think that dog, because that's a gamey dog, I feel
Yeah.
like he probably has a chance to actually catch more jackrabbits than Seth's greyhounds, because those greyhounds, they have to see it to chase it.
Right, huh?
Whereas you get a scent hound who can just sniff up a jackrabbit and just catch it real quick
Well, he'll start trailing it out and jump it right there.
and jump it
Instead
and
of
then just
seeing it.
catch it. Yeah.
He might be
So-
right. He might be right.
Yep.
Well,
might
well,
catch him.
Sonny was talking earlier about those pups chasing rabbits and stuff, and we talked about this guy a few weeks ago. Sam, he's a bobcat bear hunter out of Maine.
Oh
Name is
yeah, Sam. He's on YouTube as well. Sam Nettle.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
is it like world class plots or something like that? His big thing.
I don't know. His YouTube channel is like Bear and Bobcat. I don't know. Sam Nettle. He's on YouTube. I can't remember his channel name.
But
I
he's a
see.
big plot. He's a big plot guy. But I remember seeing
Yeah.
him. I remember seeing him work his pups, and that's what he does. He takes like a tame
he's-
rabbit. He takes like
Yep.
a tame rabbit and sticks it in a log pile,
Mhm.
and let them little 6 or 8 week old pups come around and find out where that rabbit's. Try to figure out where that rabbit's at.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. It was fun talking with Sonny about, his trash breaking and stuff, because everyone has a different opinion, everyone has a different theory on how to go about it. And I don't know, the more and more I learn about things, I like the idea of you just kind of let them run and just get them as much experience as possible up front, and then start kind of honing in on what you want them to catch.
I've always done that. Always. And I had the guy I got my line from always told me, let them chase. Let them learn how to trail and let them learn how to chase them. Anything.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's how
Good
you
stuff.
do it. And you'll watch them, and it's nice. It's so nice to just sit back and watch your dogs work. And I call them in and I throw the food out. And I let them work that way, and I'll just go whoop, and they'll come running in and start looking in the yard for anything. That's how I do it. So
Awesome.
well,
Well,
guys,
I think this was a really good Monday Night Live.
a lot of information, whether it's right or wrong or true or false.
Absolutely.
It absolutely sounded good.
Oh, hey, while everyone's still here, I am trying to get the Hound on the Run YouTube channel to 500 subscribers. I'm not very far away from that. So everyone, go and subscribe to Hound on the Run. Do it right now. Don't even wait. Just whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing. Get off this live stream right now. Go
All
to Hound on
35.
the Run. Yeah, I'm at 478. I need to get to 500. Let's do it, people. I believe in you. I trust in you. I love you. You're everything to me. Subscribe.
No, just subscribe. Just subscribe. Have Johnny. Johnny has over 1,000.
Don't
He
make
can
me
send you a
beg.
couple.
Please.
I never imagined that I would get more than. I always thought if I got 200 or 300, I thought that would just be
Good to
awesome.
go.
I never thought that I would ever get this many. Never, ever.
I was not into it at all to do anything except record, throw. I think I had some crappy editor, and then like I talked to Brett once, and he's like, "Yeah, he was going to Yuma." And I said, well, "Shoot, we ought to go eat some grub." And he said, "Well, heck, let's do it." So I met him in Casa Grande, and I was coming from Phoenix, and he was in Tucson. So I was like, we met right at there on the I-10 and had some lunch, and then ever since then, he tells me I'm stupid and what I need to do and do better or do good.
I need to know what kind of laptop I should buy. Is what I keep trying to figure out. What kind of laptop?
We can talk
kind of
about that.
I have a guy, and I run the Hewitt Pack, whatever he has for me, but he usually has some pretty good stuff, light up keyboard, touch screens, and I get them for a few $100s from him because he goes through and rebuilds them, puts the SSD instead of the rotor, all the good stuff for me. So, but some people like that Mac.
Yeah. Macs are really nice, like out of the box. I'm not a Mac person necessarily. I have an Asus VivoBook, and it was like $800. I don't know. It does everything fine. It's not the fastest, most powerful anything, but I don't know. It just kind of all depends on how much you want to spend.
I can get you a laptop under 500 for sure.
So if I got a video on my iPhone and I want to put it on that, say I bought one of the Acers and I want to put it on that, is it easy to get off of that?
Well, I iCloud mine and then download it from iCloud.
Yeah. You know what? Okay. This is funny you mentioned that. So this last video I made, so the main camera that I film with is this this DJI gimbal camera. This thing
Dude,
is really freaking awesome.
I
because
looked
it's
those up.
super-
They're nice.
They're nice, but they're not waterproof.
Oh yeah.
So that is the biggest downside to this thing. It's not waterproof. So if I want to go out when it's raining, like I don't have a very good option. So I just I just use my iPhone. And the biggest, oops, I just threw it on the ground. My biggest complaint with shooting on the iPhone is it is kind of a pain in the butt to get your files from the iPhone onto your computer. You can do it like Chris just said with iCloud. So it'll upload all your files to iCloud, and then you can download them from iCloud on your computer and then put them in your editing program.
That's a better quality, in my opinion.
It is. It takes a long time though. It takes longer than just popping out an SD card, popping that in your computer.
Yeah.
But it's doable. You can hook the iPhone up to your laptop with the cable and then just, drag and drop your files over.
I have never been able to do that on any iPhone I have.
Well,
I don't know why.
No, it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass because when I was just doing it, you click and drag all your files at once and you copy them over. Well, it put them all out of order.
Yep.
It put them all out of order. So then I have to go through and manually figure out what the order of them was. It's a huge pain in the ass.
Buy a GoPro.
But
buy a GoPro.
No, yeah, I'm gonna get a GoPro. Or I was looking at I was talking with Charlie earlier about those the DJI Action 4. I think that's what I'm gonna get.
I actually just bought a GoPro. I think I bought a 10 is what I bought. It's in the
10.
box in there. But
I mean, at this point, all the different levels, I mean, you're just getting incrementally better. Like they're all so good.
He's very stationary. So I have this cheap little Acaso.
Oh yeah.
And that's my rig camera. That's the one that takes my rig photos.
Okay.
And then my wife had bought me this Dragon Touch, which is real similar to this. I think this was $50. I only paid $70 because I actually bought it for my boys to use, but I stole it and used it as my rig camera. And I use this one on my front windshield.
Okay.
For any of that. But these, for what Johnny does, would
probably be fine. And they're under $100 or $200. They're no more than $200. They got some real nice ones with the front screen where you can see. Yeah.
And they're like $150 on Amazon. That's the Queso. And they have good reviews.
I just bought that GoPro, which like I said, I'm going to try to do some catch, cook, clean videos. So
nice. That'll be awesome.
I'm going to try to do some catch, cook, clean, but I'm guessing, and I think so. Like I'm so new to YouTube. I guess you can't really show the kill shot, can you, and be monetized?
I don't know because Kurt Price.
I would not recommend doing that. But yeah, I guess you're right.
But
he does.
That's no. That isn't. But that's monetized from YouTube. That's not including any sponsors or nothing.
Yeah, they've got
correct.
You know what I mean? So YouTube's kind of the small part of it. If you get good and big enough, then you got all these other people that want to pay for the ads. You can bring in your own brand and ads. I believe I'm new to it too.
Yeah, I don't know what Midnight Blue just said in the chat. You cannot recommend it because can't recommend it because the antis will use it, and it's true.
That's
you
it.
Post videos. I love George, but I even get a little sketched out about him showing, Scruffy getting whacked by a bear because it's like, it doesn't necessarily look that good. But
I don't. Scruffy didn't really get whacked. Scruffy almost got whacked.
No, whacked with a paw.
They'll use everything against you. They'll use everything.
Of course. Oh, they definitely will. I wouldn't worry about it too much, but I don't know. I know for a fact that you really should, if you can't show any blood, getting spilled on YouTube.
You're better off just keeping it very clean.
Super
you can show boom, but don't show the kill shot. You could go to black and then on the ground.
You see, I don't know how people do that. I've got to learn that. How Brett went to black on this last video, and you heard pow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know how you.
When
do
it
all
comes
that.
to editing, just pray a lot. Pray.
Pray.
Just pray. Because it's always going to go bad. And
Well,
you're
no.
going to get something
Okay.
done.
You want to know how you do it is, so you got, when you're editing, you got your timeline. You got your timeline of all your clips. If you wanted
Yeah.
to make it go to black real quick, all you do, you just you just cut, and then you cut again, and then you delete that middle part. Boom. It goes to black.
Yeah, but how do you get the pow? You still got the sound in there.
Well, the sound.
You keep your audio, because your audio file is going to be separate. So you keep your audio file running.
Well, you can
Your audio
unlink it.
file will be running, and then it's all of a sudden just like lights out, bam, you're back.
It depends on your editing program. Mine stays linked up unless I unlink it. And then I can unlink it. But I also have a
Yeah.
fade to black transition. I got transitions.
Johnny, you know, if you're not like, and there's no problem with this. If you're not like technically inclined to that kind of stuff, you might just want to get.
I'm computer illiterate. Like
You might want to get a MacBook Air or like a MacBook Pro, like whatever, you know, like a MacBook Air. My wife, that's what my wife has, and she's like she does it for a living. She's a graphic designer, and well, I mean, that's not her job title, but she does a ton of graphic design and video editing. She uses a MacBook Air and she loves it. She's a huge Mac person. What's nice about that, all those editing programs are pretty much like included in when you buy it. It's like plug and play. Like that's the easiest. Macs are so user friendly that like once I get a little more once I start making a little more money at doing this stuff, I'm going to switch to a MacBook Pro because there's just a lot of things that are good about them. They're just they're more expensive, but with that, you're getting a lot more user friendly kind of stuff, like iMovie, like you can do a ton in iMovie.
that's what I use on my phone.
Yeah.
That's what but I'm still not good at editing. But I get a lot of like, maybe it's just nice people. Like I get a lot of good feedback.
Well, that's because you're an authentic guy, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That may be what it is. I get a lot of good feedback,
Yeah. I mean, all that other stuff is just polish and, as long as you got
editing is something you have to get into and start enjoying. I enjoy editing. People in this YouTube world that have never made a video and done a YouTube channel don't realize when I go hunt for a day, it takes me 2 days after to get the video ready. And sometimes it takes 3 days.
Do you know what my biggest problem is with editing? I hate the sound of my own voice.
Oh, yeah.
I
Everybody
do.
goes
I'm
through
gonna
it.
get over it.
It makes me cringe. I cannot stand the sound of my own voice.
Sooner or later, you'll sound sexy to yourself, and you'll get
Yeah,
over
you
it.
got to trick yourself into liking it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people who don't like the sound of my voice.
I like the sound of your voice.
I do too.
I think it's the reason I've got 20 people at church instead of 120.
Make me feel all tingly. Make me feel all tingly inside.
Oh, yeah.
You might want to consider starting a separate ASMR YouTube channel, Johnny. And you just talk like this.
Oh,
Now we're going to cut up the deer ham. And we're going to pat it down with a nice dry brine.
If you recorded that for me, I could probably fall asleep to that voice.
I know, right? Yeah.
So soothing.
Yeah.
My wife's like, shut up so I can go to sleep. I'm like, oh, okay. Are you playing your video again? Oh, I don't know. I like the sound of my voice now. You'll get used to it.
All right. I think I
Awesome.
need to get going. Something smells like it's burning, or something smells like somebody's cooking something. I need to go investigate that.
Oh, dinner time.
Hopefully it's
Chocolate
dinner
chip-
time. Hopefully my house
chocolate
isn't
chip-
burning down.
chocolate chip cookies.
I'm going to go check my beef jerky. Teriyaki, sweet teriyaki.
Oh boy, that sounds
I
good.
know.
Sounds good. You guys
All
have
right,
a good
guys.
one. I'll catch up with y'all
Yeah.
later. See you.
All right,
Sounds
see you
good.
guys. Have a good night.
Everybody, thank everybody for coming.
Yeah, thank you everybody. See you later.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
We will see you guys next Monday.
Peace.
Word.